Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on September the 20th, 2016. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me as always, Scrooge McDuck.
Caffeine Rage. I'm not sure if you could call me Scrooge McDuck right now.
Well,
I kind of bankrupted myself.
We're going to talk about that. But first, today's topics. We will, of course, be discussing the games that we played this week. Digital Homicide sues 100 Steam users for bad reviews. Pokemon Go's paying population has dropped a lot, but they're still rolling in it. Sony's president criticizes No Man's Sky.
Sorry.
Farming Simulator gets mods on PS4. Dear Esther is going to be a play. We'll have our weekly community corner and our Steam weekly deals discussion. And as always, timestamps will be on the show notes following their respective topics.
And in the description and YouTube.
Yes, and I almost didn't make it. I almost screwed up there at the end, but I made it. One take. Rage, how are you?
Well, you're fucking lucky that I'm here tonight.
Yes.
Because I was very tempted to take a sick night. And yep. I know I don't sound sick, but I have you know that I'm running a hell of a temperature. It's at least 400. I'd say about 480. But
that is correct. You got your brand new AMD RX 480. You got one of the aftermarket cooler versions, didn't you?
I got the Sapphire Nitro Plus.
And I've just got the Sapphire...
you got the reference board, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's built by Sapphire, but it's the reference board, so it's Sapphire branded, but yeah.
Yeah, the specs for the Nitro Plus is actually a little bit better than the reference board.
Did not know that. Do you plan on overclocking it, or does it come with a factory overclock?
It comes with a factory overclock, but I'm probably going to bump it up a little bit more. It's running at 1340, I believe, megahertz on the overclock, just out of the box. I could actually go to my orders page and tell you exactly what the overclock is on it, because I just ordered it.
Yeah, I'm going to go look at mine because I don't know what the base clock is. I think it's 12 something.
Yeah, I got the factory overclock because the factory overclock was cheaper than the standard version. Let's see, I got the 8 gig version that's running at 1342 megahertz.
I'm still looking for mine. How much did you pay for your card?
I paid... Well, wow, the price has jumped up since I bought this. I paid $265. And since I bought it Sunday, the price has jumped back up to $280.
Dang. Yeah, so you paid a little bit more for yours, but not much. Mine was... well, I got to go back to my orders page. $239.99. So the MSRP.
Yeah, well, here's the thing is that, it is a third-party cooler, so there's that going on with it. And it does have a little bit more performance. I was looking at the benchmarks of the different third-party versions, and compared to the reference, some of them were upwards of 10 FPS difference. Wow. It really depends on how much the thermal throttling starts kicking in, because that's been a problem with the reference board. It is on some more intense games that it starts to thermal throttle, and I had two versions of the third-party cooler in mind, either the Nitro Plus or the Red Devil, and it was the Nitro Plus that dipped in price.
What was the difference in the Nitro Plus and the Red Devil?
About $10 when I bought it. And here's the thing is that, well, it was also the Red Devil had shipping on top of it. At the time, the Nitro Plus was free shipping, and now it's back up to $5 shipping. So, the prices are going all over the place right now.
Right.
But yeah, I got it 2 days after I bought it. I bought it on Sunday, and it shipped out Monday and came in today. I'm very impressed with Newegg's free shipping. I want to know what would have happened if I paid for the fast shipping. It would have arrived here the day before I ordered it?
Maybe. Put together that time machine.
Because I don't see how they could have gotten it to me really any faster. But next week I'm going to be doing a lot of comparison on my old 7800 series versus the RX 480. And how this probably blows it out of the water compared to that. Because, well, I was looking at the benchmarks, comparing the two, and the 480 is in some places twice as powerful, if not 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be even more blown away than I was, because my card, the GTX 750 Ti that I had before, was more powerful than your card. And I noticed about a doubling in performance.
Yeah, there was one benchmark. I think it was pixel shaders, or maybe been something else, that the 480 is triple the power. So nice. This is going to be nuts when I get it installed. Oh, and I do want to make an offer to anyone out there who is interested in Battlefield 1. Because when I bought this, there was a packing code for a discount for Battlefield 1, $20 off. And I have zero interest in Battlefield 1. So anybody that wants it, send me a direct message on Twitter, Gaming with CR, and it's yours.
That is very nice of you.
Well, I have no interest in Battlefield 1. So it's better than letting it waste. I have no idea what the time frame is on this code, how long it's going to last. It's not. I want to be clear. I want to be completely clear on this. This is not the game. This is a discount code. I didn't buy this for the discount code. They literally just started doing a combo deal 2 or 3 days before I bought the card. And I was going to buy the card as soon as it dropped down in price anyway. So that wasn't a factor. And, it is kind of a disappointment that, that's the pack-in deal. But, I have no interest in it. So if anybody wants Battlefield 1 and wants to take $20 off, it's yours.
Yeah. Also, I kind of let you get away from it before I said this, but the clock speed on the card that I have, which is just the reference card, is 1266, so 1266 megahertz.
Yeah, and mine's running 1342.
So about 100 megahertz higher.
Yeah,
which can really make a difference on certain games. Some games you wouldn't be able to tell, but definitely some high performance games you'd be able to.
Yeah, which the memory clock on this is also 80,000 megahertz, according to the specs.
Yeah.
So this is going to be fun once I get it installed, and that's going to be my project after the podcast tonight.
Right. Well, my project, which, this is all stuff I've got lying around, but I've been really busy the past few weeks. I've been intending to do this, put in my SSD into my main machine, take it out of what's going to be my server PC and all that jazz, but I just haven't had a chance to do it. But I've got to get that, my 2 new fans, and my new fan controller installed in my machine. And when I do that, I may actually look into overclocking the 480, because the reference card in a lot of stuff that I saw online could get around 1350 megahertz before they started running into overheating issues.
Yeah, and this is running about that. So, and from what I understand, all the third-party coolers are pretty much at the bleeding edge already on overclock. So maybe that's where I'm hurting myself, is that I'm not going to have as much overclocking room.
Yeah. I might do
but
like
it's also running a lot cooler. Somewhere around 20 to 30 degrees difference in some cases. It's rather nuts.
Yeah, I've never pushed the heat load on my card once. I push graphics and stuff now that I've got a more powerful card, but never once have I pushed the heat load. Mm-hmm. I've never even been able to hear the fan going inside of it. Like, I don't even think I've wound it up. It's a very, very heat-efficient card.
Yeah, well, hopefully this will be a good one, because I've already made the blood sacrifice while I stepped outside to pick up the package. A mosquito bit me.
So you literally have bled for this card?
Yep. Well, don't you know you have to do a blood sacrifice whenever you're working on your computer?
Usually I just wind up smashing my fingers somehow.
For me, I always cut my finger on some sharp surface. Usually the IO shield. I'll be perfectly honest. That's usually where it gets me. And no matter how careful I am, it's like it jumps out and grabs me.
Yeah, I always manage to drop something on my finger and hurt it. Either like I knock the case over, I drop power supply, I drop something off the table, and when I go to catch it, I smash my hand on the table. Like, that always happens to me.
I will say that the 480 kit, there's not a lot in this. There's really no extra that they're throwing in this time, at least right now, I should say. It's very bare bones. It's the card, a registration sheet, a small quick start guide, and the CD for the drivers, and that's it.
Yeah, that's all that came in mind, too.
Yeah, whenever I got my 7800 series, I got a couple power adapters for, I think it was 6 to 4 pin, because it was running two 4 pins. Or no, it was 4 to 6 pin, because it was running two 6 pin connectors. And a couple other goodies, and also the pack-in games. Granted, I got the 7800 series a lot later in its life cycle than I did the 480, so they were doing that deal already.
Yeah, I didn't get anything with my 480 because, I bought it the week after they came out. Like, the first restock that Amazon did was when I bought mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't able to get in the first wave, and they've been just ludicrously overpriced ever since. And even then, I probably could have waited and gotten it down to another $10 or $15, but that would have been waiting a few more weeks because you saw the prices already jumped back up to $15.
Yeah. I wonder what they are on Amazon. Oh, they're still up there. It looks like you can get a couple of the aftermarket cards. Oh, here's one. $239.99, the MSI gaming version. Oh, but it's the 4 gigabyte model.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that you have to be very careful because the cheap ones are usually the 4 gig, not the 8 gig.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like most of the...
granted, you could probably get away with the 4 gig for now, but the 8 gig is more future-proofing than anything else. And let's be perfectly honest. Game developers are... once 8 gig it becomes a bit more out there, a bit more commonplace, they're going to start, not compressing their textures as much.
Yeah.
Gears of War on the PC version, it's like an 80 gig download.
That is huge.
Yeah, I don't know what they're including in it, but it is just a massive... It's either 60 or 80 gig. It is just a massive download.
I think that would be 4K textures. I'm pretty sure that on PC, the new Gears of War is going to run at 4K. Well, yeah. It is going to be able to run at 4K. So that's probably all those 4K textures.
Yeah, most likely. It's just a ludicrously a huge download. It's massive.
Yeah.
But, it's not really going to be that relevant because, it's going to be Windows Store only. So, who's going to download it outside of people that get the 1080? Because that's the pack-in thing for it.
I probably would when it goes on sale. Like, next year. Or the year after it comes out. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this out a week or two ago. I have trouble taking the Windows Store seriously when their top games are all mobile ports. And you have to dig really far down and get really specific to even find, like Gears of War or Forza, that sort of thing. You have to go top paid, and then there's a couple in the top 10, but then you still get things like Hitman Go and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. Microsoft really needs to take a serious look at how they're doing the Windows Store. And then scrap it.
Huh. You can actually... This actually looks like a decent... Sorry, I'm just looking at 480 stuff on Amazon. We really need to get off of this, but... I was just scrolling down looking at the different models of the 480.
Yeah.
And Amazon is selling a pre-built PC for $720. It actually is pretty decent. It's got the 4 gigabyte model of the 480, but it's got an i5... in it, a 1 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah, I really expect the 480 to be the benchmark for pre-built PCs for quite a while. It is a hell of a boost on power for a pretty decent price.
This isn't... And you can upgrade... Well, it's got a different version of this PC that's got an i7 6700K, so a quad-core hyper-threading processor, so 8 logical cores.
Yeah.
With a 2 terabyte hard drive, and then all the rest of the stuff are the same. But still, that's not bad. $1,000 for a pre-built with, I mean, the processor alone, and that's $400. Mm-hmm. The 480, $200. So, I mean, that's pretty decent. RAM, you know, I think that they could go with a little bit more RAM.
Well, RAM's rather expensive right now, isn't it?
Yeah, super expensive.
Yeah.
Because this is not DDR4. This is DDR3 RAM in this machine. So, okay, let's move away from the PC building portion of the podcast.
Yeah, we'll get back into this next week.
Yeah, once you've actually experienced the power of a modern graphics card.
Well, so that feels like a slam.
Maybe a little bit. So now that we've been
going through I experienced the power of a modern graphics card in 2013.
Right. So now that we've been going for nearly 20 minutes, let's talk about games. Let's talk about games.
Oh, okay. I guess I got one first with The Crew.
Yeah,
the free Ubisoft game. I decided to download it and give it a spin.
Hi-yo.
And I think free is a good price for this game.
Okay.
It's not a great racer, but it's not a terrible racer either. It's very mediocre. And I have to say that it is probably the most lonesome MMO I've ever played. Because technically, no, it's not dead. There are people there, but here's the thing: is that it's so instanced that you'll look at the world map, I should say the U.S. map, because it has the stylized version of the U.S. You know, you can kind of tell where the states are, but then you get the Appalachia towns up in north of New York. So but. You look at the world map and you see, maybe 100 people across the entire map, and the map is absolutely huge. It will take you about 45 minutes driving flat out to go from one side of the map to the other. And that's, going at, 100, 150 miles per hour.
So that's not too bad.
Yeah, it is a pretty good sized map, but the thing is that there's a lot of empty space. They have a lot of different things scattered around. Different skill challenges and things, but there's still a lot of space in between. And that's where it feels really, really lonesome. And that, and the fact that, in a region, you'll have maybe 5 people that you could see directly on your radar.
Yeah.
And even then, they'll be like 10 miles away. And it's very rare to actually see someone in person.
I want to know how they screwed that up. Because Test Drive Unlimited did a really good job with the whole open world online driving experience.
Maybe it's just pure population problems. Maybe it is just pure population problems, even with it being a free game right now. Maybe. Because it just feels like one of those games that the servers feel dead, even though you know that they're not. Because you could still see people driving around, and you could still see a fair bit of chatter going on. Yeah. But they've done some weird things. In the beta, I should say that I played the beta of this, years ago, before the game came out. And they had a local voice chat that they removed. And I think that's part of the problem, is that there's the only way to really chat with someone outside of your crew, your little group, that's just randomly wandering around, is by text. And text in a driving game? Yeah. Don't text and drive, kids. I should play it on Xbox and just to compare. Well, be sure to grab it on PC, because I do want to play it together at some point. Sure. It's just one of those things that it feels really lonesome. Yeah. And that makes sense. Physics-wise, it's one of those things that it feels very dated. It doesn't... I should preface this with saying that I do like my racers arcadey, but it feels like even doing some severe tweaking to it to get the grip and everything right, because out of the box, it just handles horribly. It feels like everything's just skating around, and you can do some work with it to try to get a bit better, but even then, it still feels like all the controls are very loose. Now, maybe it gets better as you level up because this is an MMO, so your cars are essentially your classes, and as you do the different challenges and everything, you do unlock better parts, and one of the stats is grip. But that being said, it shouldn't be that it feels like you're driving on ice in the desert. You know?
Yeah.
So maybe that's just a progression thing that they really screwed up with the crew. And this is also just the base game. It's not the expansion, which has monster trucks and a lot more of extreme stuff in it. And there's another expansion coming out, in less than a month that is going to add, I think it's more police stuff. Which the police is kind of a joke in this game. They're either so easy to get away from, it's hilarious. Unless, you're going through wheel deep water and suddenly it says, oh, well, you're in too deeper water and you get respawned and instantly get captured because of it. I had that happen once. Or they're so difficult that, it's just give up. They work off the 1 star level, very GTA-esque.
Right.
And you have to get outside of their sight radius to be able to escape them. And as you are out of their sight radius, it starts counting down. And the further it counts down, the less 1 stars you retain if you get back in sight. But the thing is, once you get above, I think 4 or 5 stars, you get a helicopter that follows you. And good luck shaking that fucking helicopter. It's just one of those things, it's a joke, and then it's just brutal. There's no real curve to it. It's very binary. At least that's what it feels like right now. Granted, I am still very low level, and I'm treating it as, just a game to fire up every so often, goof off, and, play a couple skill challenges. What the skill challenges are, they really run the gambit. There's a jump challenge, which is essentially get your fastest car that you can and hit the jump at as high a speed as you can. Then there's slaloms, which, you have to go fast, but also have to have good handling, which good luck in the crew, right?
Yeah.
Because I've already complained about the handling. And
I was going to say, based on what you said, yeah, good luck.
Now, granted, once again, it may just be a progression thing. So that may just be, I haven't geared up enough. Or maybe I have to specialize my car into more grip. Or maybe I need to get a better car. Because I've only gotten 2 cars so far. I've unlocked the hidden car for the Midwest. There's 5 different regions. There's the Midwest, the Eastern Seaboard, the South, the Mountain States, and the West. I think that's 5. And there's a different version of the hidden card for each of them. That's each a different spec. And each spec is a different style of racing. There's street racing, off-road racing. But then they get kind of redundant. Like there's a raid race, I believe it is. That's essentially just a souped-up version of the dirt racer. Which, why would you have 2 of those, right?
Right.
It's one of the things that maybe it will make more sense once I level up, but on the outset, it doesn't. Oh, and of course, they also have microtransactions.
Of course.
That's why it feels like, free is a good price for this game, because they have a premium currency that you can pay into, get more skill points. Or you could just buy in with the game currency, but it's fucking expensive. Or you have premium cars. There's some that require, and here's the big disconnect for me, is there's some that requires the premium currency, and then there's others that require just real life currency. So why have the premium currency?
Okay.
And then there's the DLC cars on top of that. I'm not selling the crew very well, am I?
No, but right now it's free.
Yeah, it is a goof-off game for me, though. That's the thing.
I just added it to my account. So I will...
Yeah, I mean, there's really no reason not to add it, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to try and download it right now while we're recording, but I'll download it later.
Yeah, I guess I should go into the story, which it does have a story, which is essentially a single-player mode. That's probably why it feels like such a barren MMO, is that, you're given this rather long story, I'm one region out of 5, so I'm probably about a fifth of the way through, assuming that it goes through all 5 regions, of course.
Right.
And there's really no incentive to try to get more than one person into the story missions, and some of them you can't get more than one person into. It's solo only. So maybe that also contributes to it being a very lonesome MMO. It would be like WoW being all instant stuff. Well, wait, they've already done that, haven't they?
Yeah, but WoW's instances are a lot larger, except for dungeons.
Well, the cruise instances are essentially the entire map.
Right.
I'd love to know how many players are actually playing the game, or have a map that shows all activity. Because right now, you look at the map and you see just a handful of people. But the thing is that there's always a handful of people, so that makes me think that there's a large enough number of people that you're joining an instance of the map. That it's not a barren game, but it just feels that way. I think they could have done double the number of players that they have per instance and not felt very crowded.
Yeah, larger instance sizes would probably help fix the loneliness problem, unless the servers really are just that dead.
Which, since it is a free game right now, I don't imagine it's that dead. But who knows, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else. It is a very slow grind. It requires a lot of money to set up a car. And if it wasn't for the hidden car, I would still be on a starter car, which isn't terrible, but it isn't great either. And there's not a huge selection of cars as well, because they do the split thing where each car has 5 different variants with different specs, plus the stock version. Which, honestly, there's no reason to run the stock version. And it's just... it feels like there's not quite enough there for choices, because between that and the parts that you get from all the different challenges, you're always going to install the best parts that you can to raise your car level. And some parts you will want to swap out because they have different bonuses. Now, how an exhaust helps with braking is your guess is as good as mine, because hell if I know. But, if you have an exhaust that helps with braking and you get a different one that helps your top speed, you probably want to swap out for top speed, even if the braking one is technically better.
Yeah. Yeah, exhaust doesn't help braking. It just doesn't do that.
Maybe the exhaust just, drops down and bites into the road.
Maybe it weighs less. If it weighs less, then it would help with braking, technically.
Yeah, but here's the thing, is that there's also a weight tool, or a weight stat. So there's be parts that help the car weigh less, so it's not that.
Ah. Well, then I don't know. All right, so what else have you played?
Let's get into mediocre. Well, get away from mediocre and go into fucking weird. The Sunday Sampler game, Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. This is one of those games that I have no idea what the fuck they were trying to do. It feels like a game that they wanted to do one thing, but then all the game design tells me that they're of a different thing. It plays like a very chillax game, You're a janitor at a spaceport who is trying to make money to get off that, a godforsaken rock. And to do so, you're picking up trash and either burning it or selling it to merchants. One man's trash is another man's treasure. But you would think that would make it a very chillax game. But the thing is that there's no map whatsoever. And only certain merchants will accept certain items. So in order to really be able to tell what you want to do with a particular item, you're going to have a lot of notes. Well, assuming that, you don't find just, like, well, I want to keep all of this item and, just burn all the rest. And also there's an overarching story to it, but because there's no map and you have to talk to each individual NPC to find out even their name, you're going to do a lot of wandering around, and it requires a lot of memorization to remember okay, I need to talk to this guy. That guy was over in the red section of town, underneath the sign for the smut shop. And yes, there is a shop that sells smut, by the way.
Excellent. That's why I'm spending all my money.
It's just one of those things. You're buying this game right now, aren't you?
No, I'm looking at it, listening to you.
Yeah. It's just a game that feels like they were wanting to do something, but it's a first project for this group. I think it was also a student game. It was the game actual executable says that's a game jam game because it has it's from a game jam, and the game jam's name is still in the executable. So they never really got away from the game jam original idea of it. Art-wise, it doesn't look bad. It's very retro-esque. It feels like sort of a early PC version of a 3D game. All the models are flat images, and they'll rotate with the camera.
Right.
And it has some sort of weird survival-esque feels to it, where, you'll get hungry occasionally, so you'll have to go eat something. But the thing is that being hungry doesn't kill you. It just prevents you from going to the next day. So you could keep going around picking up trash until, your batteries run down. Then you have to go eat something to restart the day. It's just one of those things that it feels very schizophrenic with its design.
I'm trying to think how schizophrenic is the word that fits with that.
Well, it wants to be one thing, but it is a completely different thing.
Okay.
What, can you think of a better word?
Well, schizophrenic is seeing and hearing things that aren't actually there.
Sorry, I was thinking. I picked the wrong word then. To be fair, there are times in this game that does an interface screw, and you have to go find a particular kiosk to be able to get the interface to stop screwing up. So it does fit, but it's for something completely different.
It's dissociating.
Okay, we'll go with that.
It wants to be one thing, so it pretends to be that thing, but really it's something else.
Yeah, I will say that atmosphere-wise, it does make you feel like you're in a foreign place. But the thing is that story-wise, that doesn't really make sense because it said that you've been there for years, so why the hell do you not even know where the basic things are in the fucking town?
Right.
If they just had a very basic map, I'm not asking, every detail for every merchant or everything, but, be able to at least say, okay, to get to this district, I go over here instead of following the arrows that are on the ground. But the thing is that the arrows aren't always on the ground. They're just in certain areas of the ground, in certain areas of the town. So you have to know where those signposts are, essentially. Which, if you know where the signposts are, you probably know where that section of town is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
I don't know. It looks interesting, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'd like this or not.
It's probably a try and possibly refund it game.
Yeah, I might do that. Is this a game that's pretty easy to tell?
It's pretty easy to tell within 2 hours of playing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I played it for less than 2 hours, and before doing the review and or my first impressions of it, and I was just not impressed with it.
Right.
But maybe if someone has more of a tolerance for it, or is going into it expecting a lot of time wasting, then it'd be more for them. Or, someone that just, is going to get high and, wander around burning trash. Well, there you go.
Right. Okay. Well, what's next on your list?
Well, I played some Spintires with Kyle just last night.
And right. I was there for that.
Well, last night and a couple nights ago.
Okay.
Kyle cannot drive.
I was not witnessing this. I don't have Spintires, but I was listening on TeamSpeak.
Well, and, have you seen the screenshots?
Yeah, I saw the screenshots. No, he can't drive. How many times did he flip his truck over?
3 times within half an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I got stuck once, but the difference is that I took a weird bounce of a rock, and I was still on my tires. I was wedged in between a couple of rocks, and I needed a bit of a pull. And I was also carrying a ton of fuel. Well, 1,800 liters, but that's beside the point. He completely flipped his truck into the lake on the volcano map.
Didn't he do that twice?
Yeah. And he also jackknifed his truck once around a tree. I don't know how he did that. It was rather impressive. But Spintires is one of those games that you look at it on the surface and think, what the hell? Why would anybody want to play this? And I will say that it is grossly overpriced for what it is. I think it would be a lot better as a $20 game instead of a $30. But it is essentially an off-road version of your air truck simulator with a little bit more realism and, well, getting stuck and getting frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks and sounds fun. I mean, you've talked about it before on here, and to me, we've talked about it a bit off the show.
Yeah, it's one of those things I would definitely recommend picking up on sale.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to spend $30 on it. I might be convinced to spend $20. I'd definitely spend $15 on it, but it's just, it doesn't seem like a $30 game to me.
Yeah, but you spent $60 on a walking simulator.
Yep, I'm going to cut that out.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't help myself.
I have a grin on my face. Don't worry. I just felt as if that was the best way to respond. I don't have. Yeah, that was kind of the end of my. That was the end there. So.
Well, I shut that down, didn't I?
Well, I mean, I was naturally done with my talking, anyways. But yeah, so.
Spintire. Kyle has an audio letter about this later, so I'm not going to go too deep into Spintires. I don't want to get stuck in the mud again.
But okay. Well, if that's the case, then on to your last game.
Yeah, my last game is actually a game I've been playing on my YouTube channel, and I've finished up a recording of it, and it's going to be wrapping up on there in a couple weeks. Victor Vran. This is a game that started off so strong, and about the third act just started to piss me off. And I think after recording and sitting down and really thinking about it, because that's kind of the thing is, after the fact, really having the time to process everything. Because you don't really have the time to do that while you're just chattering away and trying to play a game. I figured out why it started to piss me off. Well, for one, it was very blatant with its padding. It told me that, okay, well, we found out where to go to confront the final boss. But we're not going to let you do that yet, because if you go do that, the city is still going to be doomed because these other bosses have already come through the portal and will destroy the city anyway. So you're going to have to go kill these 5 bosses. Okay. Very, very blatant on padding, right?
Right.
And also, this is something I didn't really realize until after I finished recording. I stopped getting upgrades about halfway through the game, and I'm not sure if I missed something. If I didn't do the crafting, which I ended up not doing any crafting in the game whatsoever. I just was waiting for pickups, because that's typically what you do in an ARPG. Is the drops are the bread and butter of the game, and crafting is usually just tweaking little things on items. I got no upgrades for the second half of the game, and it just made the game feel more and more grindy as enemies started getting tougher and tougher, and I wasn't getting any power to counterbalance that. To the point that even trash enemies were taking ages to kill. And it's just, I'm not sure if I missed something, if the crafting is hugely overpowered, if there's a system that, I missed, if not doing all the random side shit hurt me there, or what. Because I know some of the secret chests, this is set up where there's a chest on every map that are considered secrets. Usually 1 or 2 in a very obvious spot, then there's 1 or 2 that's very hidden. The secret chest I was getting, I got one that was an emote, a fucking emote.
Nice.
So I stopped going really in depth looking for the secrets. And I started just skipping some of the trash mobs, just running past them to the checkpoints because, I was spending ages and ages getting through them. And I probably cut out a good 3 episodes worth of content just by running through things and, popping health potions and defensive auras. It's just one of those games that maybe that hurt me in the end. I wasn't leveling up as much because I was skipping content. But the thing is that this is a game where you don't have armor. You have an outfit that's your complete armor set. And that grossly changes how you play. The one time that I got the outfit, I got one outfit during my entire play session, by the way. Changed how I got overdrive, which was... it changes how my demon powers work. To charging when I'm doing damage to doing a constant charge rate. And getting no bonus from doing damage. So, that's the only change in armor that I got. And weapons I didn't get, any in the second half. So, I don't know where I was supposed to go for that. It's frustrating. Overall, though, until I hit that point, I was enjoying the game. So, I'm not sure if it's my fault or not. I actually had to go to casual mode to finish the final boss because I just was lacking the power and I didn't want to go grind out or try to hunt down, where the hell am I supposed to get a weapon to kill this guy?
Right.
And also, the final fight was a bit of a letdown. He's talking this entire time, I'm just toying with you, right? I could kill you in an instant. And he does the same fight twice, essentially. You have a fight where you're fighting against this giant vampire, and every so often he'll put down vampiric totems, which will drain your health and heal him. And he'll do a cone attack of essentially magic missiles. That's very hard to dodge, by the way. Now, I did a fight like this in the very early game. Practically the same fight. It had the vampiric totems. And I think instead of a cone attack, it was a homing attack of the magic missiles. Well, he also has the homing attack. And that's it for that boss fight. That's the final boss. You kill him. Then it says, ha ha ha, you didn't kill me. You have to go kill these magical traps that's keeping me alive. Oops, I shouldn't have told you that. So you go kill those. Then you kill the main boss again. And it's practically the same fight, only this time, in between the cone attack and the homing missiles, he does just an AoE splash damage, and that's it. It's it's a very big letdown. Essentially doing the same boss fight twice, and it's basically a fight that I did in the very early series to begin with.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some intended function to it or narrative point.
I have no idea.
But it feels like whenever games do that, it always feels cheap. It's you couldn't.
Yeah, it felt very cheap, and I had to go to casual mode for it just because I didn't have the gear for it. So maybe I'm cheapening it myself as well by just going to casual mode, which lowers the health. Which it didn't lower it that much because it still took me a good 10 or 15 minutes to do the fight each time. And it lowers the damage, which, the damage was still pretty damn high. So,
yeah,
it was probably levels, but also I had no upgraded weapons for ages. And I have no idea where to get them. So, casual mode or, just say fuck it.
Right. Okay.
What?
Fuck it.
Yeah, no, I did beat the game. It was a very big letdown because the entire time he's saying, well, I'm just toying with you. I'm just toying with you. And I was expecting, some big attack, kill me now or I'm going to kill you. Never came. It was the same pattern the entire fight twice with, that one addition between the two versions of the final fight.
Right.
It just felt like, it felt like they were intending to do something else, but they may have ran out of time. So they just copied the first boss fight.
Right, out of time or out of money,
Yeah.
or both.
Yeah, which they are doing an expansion, which I'm not going to play. Already installed the game. Fuck it.
Nice. Okay. Well,
Yeah, so a bit of a letdown, which also means that I'm going to the choosing again, and I'm going to figure out what I'm going to play. Or I think Victor Vran ends the first week of October, so that means the second week is a new game there.
Nice.
And trust me, after the last, I'd say half dozen episodes of Victor Vran, I'm ready for a new game. Just because of the power curve just sucking.
Well, I hope your choosing goes well. I look forward to hearing what game it is you're going to play next time. Start a new series on. Okay. Well, that means it is my turn, because Victor Vran is your last game. So, last week, we announced that Mech Warrior Online was going to be the Game Club game.
Yeah, and which, by the way, the poll is still open for the next Game Club game.
Right? It's still very close. It's at time of recording, it's 3-2-1. 3 for Ruse, 2 for Path of Exile, and 1 for Dwarf Fortress. Anyways, though, so that put me on a Battletech Universe kick. So I went and I bought several ebooks from the Mech Warrior series. There's a ton of them. I think there's like 6 or 7 different series that come at different points in the timeline, and there's some one-off books and stuff like that. And then you can get all of the old PC Mech Warrior and Mech Commander games as abandonware. And I started with the 2 that I'm most familiar with, which is Mech Warrior 4 Mercenaries and Mech Commander 2. So I'll start with Mercenaries. This game came out in 2002. And it was an expansion, a standalone expansion to Mech Warrior 4. It just added more mechs and more missions. And then the Mech Tech guys, I still haven't looked up whether or not they were a company or just like a group of modders. But anyways, they took the game because at some point, Microsoft released the source code for the game when it went abandonware. They released it for a little while, and anybody could get it and play the game that way. The Mech Tech guys got it, added in a whole bunch of custom content. It's got like 3 or 4 times the amount of pilotable vehicles than the original game had. And it adds some new multiplayer maps, and it adds like a wave-based survival mode in case you can't find anybody to play with, and a whole bunch of custom tools where people can create their own missions and campaigns and stuff. So it adds a whole bunch to the game. So this really isn't even the original Mech Warrior 4 Mercenaries, but I mean, it is a great game. It's pretty, and I'll talk more about this for Game Club next week, I think, but it's pretty clearly the inspiration behind Mech Warrior Online. The games have very similar systems, very similar control schemes, very similar mech modification systems. So Mech Warrior 4 Mercenaries is an excellent game, and it holds up really well gameplay-wise. They did a good job with the voice acting. The campaign is really good, especially if you know about the Mech, or the Battletech universe, the kind of extended universe. The game is not officially canon, but it does take place during one of the time periods in the timeline that's kind of like people don't know what happened because of things that happened in universe. So it's not technically considered canon, but it could have happened. Like, it's one of those things where it's
it could happen.
Yeah, it's not one of those things like the Mech Assault games, which are just like crazy ridiculous. Like, there's no way this would have existed in the universe. But it's a really solid game where the mechanics hold up. Like I said, the voice acting was good, the storyline was good. It's actually got pretty decent branching storylines where not all, but some of your mission choices matter, especially as you get closer to the end of the game, where you basically have to choose between 2 of the major houses in the game, like the controlling factions, in case you're not familiar with the Battletech universe. You have to choose between 2 of those, and then there's another choice you can make that basically is like, well, I'm a mercenary, so screw these guys, I'm going to do my own thing. And you basically take over a moon for yourself, which is pretty cool.
You have your own moon base?
Yeah. You can either choose to follow major story spoilers. You can either choose to follow.
That's all right. I won't remember any of these.
You can choose to follow House Davian, who wins the war regardless of which side you pick. You just basically, if you work for House Steiner, you can delay the end and save like the royal family and stuff like that. Or if you choose to work for House Steiner, but then are like, actually, you know what? These guys are gonna lose the war. You can go take over their moon base around their home planet. And it's like, well, you guys are gonna lose. Davian's gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna go take your moon. See ya. And you go take their moon base, and then you get a special ending, and it's like, we've got our own base, Commander. We should form our own mercenary command instead of working for whichever mercenary faction you chose. So it's pretty challenging too. Even playing the game on normal mode, especially in the early game when you don't have any heavy or assault mechs, you have to really manage your squad because in almost every mission you get at least one squad of people with you, and then especially in the later game. But in some of the early missions, you can have two squads. So you really have to command those guys around and really do battlefield tactics. Kind of towards the end of the game, you can just shove everybody in an assault mech and just destroy everything. But it's still pretty challenging, and even late in the game, it can throw you some curveballs. Like there's one mission that I actually beat last night by cheating. I turned on invincibility after trying 12 times to beat it. But it's a stealth mission.
Oh, so you just need Lucky 13.
Yeah, with invincibility turned on. But it's a stealth mission where that you have to sneak through an extremely heavily guarded compound and do a whole bunch of scans on stuff.
Yeah, stomp, 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 stomp. What the hell is that? Yeah, never mind. Maybe it's just the wind. Stomp, stomp.
Yeah, even a light mech is still like 30 tons. Yeah, they must be deaf.
What?
But, what?
What?
Oh, I get it.
I thought you were playing along there.
No, I was not. I didn't register that for a second. But no, you have to like scan the base and blow up a target and then escape without getting killed. So I tried to do it the stealthy way about 6 times, and then I gave up and tried to just murder everything. But you're so outnumbered, even in the most powerful mech I had access to, I couldn't do it. So I turned on invincibility mode and just ran the mission and left. But you can turn the difficulty up. You can also do some custom stuff. Obviously, you can place limitations on yourself. You can play like a crazy person, or you can play kind of intelligently. When I say crazy person, it's like, I'm going to fit the biggest cannons that will fit on this thing, period, and just kill everything instantly. But then I ran out of ammo, and I have to run stuff over. Or you can play it intelligently and take like a mix of weapons and use squad tactics and all this other stuff. So it's a fun game. It holds up really well. The graphics kind of suck, to be honest, but it's from 2002. So I cut it a lot of slack.
Dark Ages.
Probably my favorite part in the game, though, is not related to story at all. There's like this arena that you can go to, and they've got like an ESPN sports commentator who comments over the fights that you do. You know, they're just gladiatorial mech fights. And actually, it's really done well. Like, each of the pilots have got backstories, and the announcer guy will talk about them, and he makes, like, witty kind of banter about what's going on in the match. Like, oh, it helps if you face your opponent whenever you try to shoot them. Facing the opposite direction usually doesn't do much. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. And I play it with my joystick. It's got support for modern joysticks.
You're going to go blonde.
Hi-oh. I don't know if that's something that the Mech Tech guys added, or if it just has a really intelligent joystick recognition,
input,
whatever.
That hasn't changed in ages.
I'm not sure actually what it is. I will say that I'm going to have the links to the Abandonware pages where you can get these games if you're interested. If you go to the Abandonware page to download this, it's got the link to the original game and then the Mech Tech game. You can get the original and check it out, but actually to play, I would wholeheartedly say go for the Mech Tech version. Like I said, it's got all that extra work in it, all the extra mechs, and they made sure that they made it so that it will run at modern widescreen resolutions and stuff like that pretty well. It's got modern support for graphics cards and hyper-threaded processors.
Wow, they actually added support for graphics cards.
Yes.
Before that, you just had to print it all out page by page, and you look and see, I missed.
With your dot matrix printer.
Yeah.
So loud. You should go check it out. It's free. Why wouldn't you? The next one, or the only other game I played this week, was Mech Commander 2, which is a real-time strategy game set in the Battletech universe. It's from 2001.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were supposed to be theming our games.
Yeah, didn't you get the memo?
Well, let's see. I have 2 driving games, and I have 2 that are kind of disappointing. And I guess I technically could theme these.
They sucked. Games that made you sad this week?
Well, I enjoyed Spintires, and the crew is a good time waster.
Yeah, but Kyle made you sad in Spintires because he can't drive.
Yeah, but then I started laughing my ass off at him. But, he did waste my time.
Fair play. Anyways, Mech Commander 2 is a real-time strategy game from 2001. It was the sequel to Mech Commander, which came out in 1999. Mech Commander 2 has not received the same TLC from the community after it went abandonware, which Microsoft also released the source code for this game. If you're going to download it, download the ISO, because the RIP file that allows it to play without being mounted as a drive or anything like that is missing about half of the assets for the game. You can do what I do, which is I mounted the ISO, took all of the file assets, and replaced the ones in the RIP file for it, because I didn't want to have to mount it as a drive to play it. So you could do that, but if you don't want to deal with any of that stuff, just get it as an ISO and mount it and run it that way. Mech Commander 2, also, since it hasn't received any of the TLC, you need to run it in compatibility mode for Windows XP Service Pack 2 or 3. It just doesn't do anything. It either won't launch, or if you run it in any of the other compatibility modes, it launches, but you can't see your mouse, or you can't click on things, or even when the assets are present, they won't load properly.
Oh, you actually want your game to be playable?
Run it as in compatibility mode for Windows XP Service Pack 2 or 3, and also disable your hyperthreading on your processor.
Oh, boy.
It does not like hyperthreading. I spent a really long time troubleshooting this game.
Was this game coded by Ubisoft?
It was coded 15 years ago. Or longer,
Well, remember I complained about a Ubisoft game having the same problem, only it was made in the last, I think it was 10 years.
Yeah.
It was at the point where, hyperthreading was becoming a thing.
Yeah. This game does not respond well to hyperthreading. I spent a really long time troubleshooting this game, so you don't have to. But yeah, disable hyperthreading, and also it doesn't really like integrated graphics very much. It will run on integrated graphics, but things kind of look wonky. It's really hard to explain. Things just don't look right. They're not stretched out. They just have weird textures that blink and stuff like that. It doesn't like integrated graphics very much, but it definitely won't run with hyperthreading on. So yeah, there are those things about the technical aspects. But other than that, the game is really fun. It holds up pretty decently as an RTS. The controls are definitely dated. Or not the controls, but the interface is definitely dated. It just doesn't give you the same amount of information that you're used to in modern RTSs. But it does have the whole mech thing where that you can build or customize your mechs and assign different pilots to them with different skill sets and things like that. So you can do a lot to customize your team. Definitely, if you're going to play this game, build every single mech to do one single thing. The way that the AI works for targeting is that it looks at all of your weapons and is like, okay, I have the most of this type of weapon, which is most effective at this range. I'm going to try and stay at that range. And then all of your other weapons either don't work at all because you're either too far away or too close for them to work. Because, for example, LRMs, long-range missiles, can't be used in close range. Or
not with attitude, at least.
Small lasers can't be used at medium and long range. So build every single mech to do one thing, which can be really frustrating because if you have a really heavy mech, most of the time they're going to be limited to long-range support because they're too slow to get into a fight. But, I'd rather them be useful at something as practically useless. So, but the game has got a really good story. Again, really good voice acting. It uses full motion video for everything, and they did a good job. It's got really high production values for the time. And
that is one thing that I kind of miss is, the campiness of full motion video.
Yeah. And it doesn't have that weird kind of, haha, we're really self-aware thing that a lot of games that used full motion video kind of towards the end of the trend did. Like,
granted, there are a couple games that still do it. There's a detective game that was kickstarted in the last few years that was all full motion video.
Yeah. I can't think of the name of it, but I don't know what you're talking about. But no, this game, it does really well. It's got really good full motion video. It's got a really good story. So, I mean, it's a pretty good strategy game. It will last you the main story.
Tex Murphy.
Yeah, Tex Murphy.
I knew it was Tex something, but I kept thinking Tex Avery, and no, that's the cartoon guy.
Yeah. As long as you're not really bad at RTS, you can get through the main story in probably 10 hours.
Okay, so 20 hours for me. Got it.
Yeah, it's probably got 10 hours worth of story content, and that's pretty good. It's got a lot of replayability, too. Obviously, you can use different mech configurations, try out different things. There are some... It's not got branching paths, but it's got some secondary objectives that if you fail, you won't get certain things. Like, there's a character that you only get if you manage to complete a secondary objective, and he's really, really good pilot. But if you miss the objective, you miss him, And there's some things like that. Like, there's missable weapons technology, so you can miss some upgrades for your mechs that can make the game more difficult. So it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely some in-depth strategy to it. Most of the missions allow you to tackle problems however you want. Like, they'll give you an objective, and you can tackle it however you want. So it's like, go take over this base. It's like, well, you can do a full frontal assault. You can take some mechs with jump jets and...
Do you get it from orbit?
Get around from... You can do that. You've got a full range of support options. You can call in airstrikes from space and call in, like, support vehicles. You can get artillery, helicopters... you can get repair trucks so that you can fix your mechs on the fly.
Can I get some hyper-threading in here?
None of that. No hyper-threading. It's not allowed.
Yeah, damn.
You can capture mechs on the battlefield and then use them in the same mission. So, it's got some cool stuff to it. It's a good game. I would love another one. Although it does have some dedicated mod support in terms of, like, even now, today, added mission packs and campaigns and things like that. There's a really popular mod called, I believe, Omni? The Omni mod, which adds an entire new campaign and like 50 new mechs. It's like a gig download for this game. It's huge. And It was last updated in May or June of this year.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah. So it's definitely
I have
dedicated...
early access games that I haven't updated that recently.
Yeah, it's got a full range of support from the community, so it's definitely one to try out. And I mean, heck, it's free. Like I said, get the ISO unless you want to, take all of the files from that, put it in the RIP version so that you can put it on a flash drive or something, which is what I did. I got both of these games on a flash drive. That way I can just plug it into my laptop when I'm at the clinic or whatever. Don't have to have it downloaded to both machines. Although now that I think about it, I probably could just play it straight on my Dropbox file, and that would work like Cloud Sync. I should do that instead. I should do that. So yeah, those are the two games that I played this week. A lot. A whole lot.
Well, to be fair, I played The Crew quite a bit.
I probably played 30-ish hours of games in the past week. All Mech Warrior 4
I really can't
and Mech Commander 2.
Tell you how many hours because I haven't been idling my games. So you look at my Steam account, it's like, wow, you played 200 hours of games in the last 2 weeks. How did you do that?
Magic. No-lifing it.
Actually,
no-lifing it.
Well, actually, I'm not far off. According to Steam right now, 105 hours in the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
But that's also a lot of just letting Idlemaster do its thing while I'm doing something else. Yeah, like recording a podcast.
Right. Well, speaking of no-lifers, let's go talk about Digital Homicide and how they sued, or are attempting to sue, 100 Steam users.
Oh, Digital Homicide. I called you digital suicide before, but you didn't have to live up to that, really.
Yep. If they
and it's not even just suing the Steam users. They tried to sue Steam, and Steam responded by bitch slapping them completely off the service.
Right. So let's set the scene for people who don't know. We started this topic several months ago when Digital Homicide.
Well, they started this thing several months ago.
Yeah, when they sued Jim Sterling, who is
son.
Jim fucking Sterling's son. Who, in case you don't know, is an internet personality. He currently is Patreon supported and has videos on YouTube.
He has a personality.
He's got several personalities. But that's beside the point. Jim he's pretty divisive, but he is fairly popular, and he makes a lot of money.
Yeah, I like what he says, but I don't like the personality that he portrays.
Right. But
I don't always agree with him, of course, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't always agree with him, but so they sued him they are suing him for defamation of character or for their character and of their company. And not much has really been said about it. They haven't said anything as far as I know, and Jim occasionally brings it up, but he's like, I'm just not going to talk about it until this is all done. When it's done, I'm going to give the full scoop, but my lawyers advise me not to really divulge this stuff right now. So there's not been a lot that's been said about it. But last week, they asked... did they ask first, or did they just
subpoenaed,
go straight to the subpoena?
I think they went straight to the subpoena to Valve for 100 Steam users who's left negative reviews on their games.
Yeah. And Steam responded by taking them off the Steam store.
No. Yeah, I think you have this a little bit wrong. Or maybe I'll read this wrong. This could be either or. Steam essentially said no.
Well, yes, I'm...
And then Digital Suicide responded by attempting to sue Steam, so Steam removed Digital Suicide.
Right. Yeah, that's the full version. I was just skipping to the end where Steam removed them from their service.
Yeah, but we need to get the full story, for the full hilarity of this just asinine situation.
Yeah. Fair play.
So I'm just going to continue laughing now.
I don't really understand why they did this. Like,
dumbasses.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing.
They're convinced that the world is wrong, that either they are geniuses in game making, or they're just trolls, and I can't decide which.
Yeah, there's an interview that they did before any of this started. It was, I think, during the summer, or it might have been it was last year. It was last summer. They did an interview with Jim, where they just had like a conversation that was supposed to be, kind of burying the hatchet, settling their differences. And they spent an hour and a half like, no, you're wrong. We're awesome. We're great. We work really hard. These are good games. They're not garbage. And they are, they're serious.
If they think hard
serious
work can make a good game without any other merit, let's pick on No Man's Sky some more. No Man's Sky wants to say something about that.
Well, that's actually pretty valid. Like, okay, No Man's Sky, they spent years and years, at least 3 years, working on that game. And I assume they worked on it really hard. And it was not a great game. But Digital Homicide has released 18 games in the last 2 years. 18 games in 2 years. I don't know how you could work hard on any of those games. It's just all of their games feel like awful.
I have it's very hard to look through the Unity store and buy those assets.
Yeah, all of those games look and feel like shovelware crap, and all of them, I think all of them, probably all of them, use Unity assets that they didn't do anything to. Like, they bought the assets and then just flipped those assets and tried to turn them into a game. And they combine multiple assets that have different art styles and don't work well together. And in some cases, they've stolen images like straight from Google image search and things like that. Like the most noticeable one is from what's the zombie game that they did? Correction, what's the zombie game that they did that they got it's the Slaughtering Grounds. That's it, the Slaughtering Grounds. The blood splatter from the Slaughtering Grounds, they took that directly from Google image search. It was on like the first page or two of Google image search, at least at the time. And I mean, like, that was proved, and they got the game. There was a copyright strike filed against it, and it was taken down for a little while, and then they brought it back with a different image for the blood splatter. They just recycle stuff, and yet they believe. I feel like they believe it wholeheartedly.
Digital regurgitation.
There you go. They could be, trolling like the best trolls of all time, but I feel like they really think that they do good work and that everyone else is wrong. I really feel like they're genuine in that. And they felt so sure of themselves that they tried to take on Steam. If they were...
Which Gaben came down on them like the fist of an angry god that he is.
Yeah, if they were a multi-million or billion-dollar company, all right, sure, let's give it a go. You feel like you're right, put your money where your mouth is. But they're 2 or 3 dudes that do this, and
Steam has removed developers in the past for less than this.
Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I'm going to ask the question anyways.
Okay, this is going to be good.
Do you feel like that they have any justification to subpoena Steam to be able to sue people who leave reviews?
Here is where things get tricky.
Okay, I was not expecting that.
I researched this, actually. I was going to give Kyle some homework, but I decided, I'll do something on my own. Technically, there is no law protecting consumer reviews on the books right now in the United States. They are technically not wrong in wanting to sue people. Just because it's legal, though, doesn't mean that it's a good idea. And there is a little bit of precedence with one case where user reviews was upheld as a free speech, but it was a citable case. It wasn't a really good decision for that. So technically, they're not wrong, but it's still a horrible idea for them to do it because there's no way that they can win that case.
Yeah, I don't think that they would ever win that case at all. I don't think that they would stand a chance.
And I know Kyle's probably quickly writing out his script to reply to this, but I'm pretty sure that there's no law on the books right now. And the closest thing that we have is one bill that is in Congress right now for protection of user reviews. Because here's the thing: this is another place where law is actually 20 years behind technology. Because 20 years ago, there was no such thing as user review. Reviews were done by journalists, and they were attached to an organization, a newspaper, a magazine, that sort of thing.
Right.
Now, anyone could do reviews. Just look at me.
Yeah. And me. So.
And since
it's
not attached to, since we're not attached to a particular entity, we're technically not protected. So they're not completely wrong, but it becomes a gray area of, this is still a bad idea.
Right.
What, you wasn't expecting that, were you?
I was not expecting that. No, I figured you'd been like, fuck no.
Now, that being said, they're still fucking dumbasses.
Yeah.
Because if this goes to court and, there would be no reason for it not to, outside of them just dropping the case, realizing that, they're not going to win this, which I think they're fucking delusional enough to push it to court.
Yeah.
They are not winning.
I believe that these would be civil suits.
I believe so.
Which fall under very different... I mean, I don't know all the specifics, but I do know that they're treated different legally. And oftentimes it's very difficult to receive payout from a civil suit. So, even if they manage to get these people to court, and even if they manage to win, there's no guarantee that they'll get their money.
Yeah. And the fact that they want 18 million across 100 users, do they really think that their entire catalog can make $18 million in a century, let alone in the last 2 years that they've been in existence.
Yeah, they might, but I don't think so. Let's see. What is 18 million divided by 100? Take 2 zeros off the end. It's 100 and... No. My maths are failing me tonight.
Yeah, and I'm not going to even attempt it just to make a fool of myself.
Yeah, I was right. 180,000. So that's $180,000 a person. It would take me about 6 years to make $180,000. If they sued me, I wouldn't show up to court. I wouldn't pay him. Nothing. I might show up to court, but I wouldn't pay him.
Go on the lam. End up sleeping in my recliner.
Yeah. I just
set up a therapy booth like Lucy does in the Peanuts.
Yeah, I could do that. I might give him $18. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I'd demand $180,000. I'd countersue. I bet I'd win too. I bet these people would win if they countersued Digital Homicide. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah,
although
I still don't see their end game here because they've successfully gotten themselves pulled off Steam, and that's their big moneymaker.
Yeah.
Outside of just being antagonizing of Jim Sterling, because honestly, I don't see where else they could go.
Yeah, I don't really know what. I guess maybe they were hoping this would be interesting. This was their plan all along. Make all of these games and then sue people over them. And that's how they make money, over suing people as opposed to actually selling their games. But,
you mean abuse the law, the Yui Bowl approach?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, find a loophole and just exploit it?
Yeah. I wonder if that was their plan all along. Which, if it was, props to them for...
A stupid fucking plan?
For thinking outside the box, but it's still a stupid idea. Because basically they just have to get lucky.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what has happened to them. I think that they just got wrecked by Valve.
Yeah, I kind of hope Valve just sues them. Because here's the thing is that Valve has lawyers just sitting around. You know they have to.
Yeah, Valve has fuck you money. So we know that they've got a crack legal team.
Valve could just take the key money from CSGO for an hour and just kill Digital Homicide.
Yeah. Valve could just bury them in money and they would die.
It would be beautiful.
Literally burying them in money?
No, just Valve taking the key money. It's like, okay, this is what we make in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And sending the lawyers after them.
Valve probably makes more in 15 minutes than Digital Homicide will make ever.
Well, especially now.
Yeah, definitely now. Okay, well, I assumed this would take a lot longer to talk about than it actually has, but we went longer on games than I expected, so it all evens out in the end. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. It's just kind of funny that Digital Homicide is still seeking legal representation as well, soliciting it on their official website, which I have an archive link in the show notes. Yeah, what lawyer would touch this case? I want to know. Kyle, that's your homework. What lawyer would ever touch this case? Because I don't think that even a lawyer would get their fees out of Digital Homicide at this point.
Well, they had to represent themselves in the case against Jim Sterling because they couldn't get a lawyer to take their case.
Yeah, what was the saying? A person that represents themselves has a fool for a client?
I thought it was a fool for a lawyer. Maybe it's both. I don't know.
This just... I saw the news about Valve pulling their Digital Homicide's games, and I laughed so hard that I hurt my side.
Yeah, I laughed pretty hard at this too, the first time I saw it. And then I was like, yes. Why doesn't Steam remove more... Never mind, money. Never mind.
It's not their. It's not in Steam's interest to actively remove games, even games that are broken,
or other developers that are shitty.
Yeah. The only other developer that I can think of right offhand that got removed was and now I'm blanking on the name, and it's in my library. So, it was Paranormal Activity. That developer, the developer for that game, which is, it's now Digital Distribution, but it was a different developer at the time. He got removed from Steam for a while because he actually made a death threat to Gabe Newell.
Oh, I remember that now that you say that. I remember that.
That's the only other one I can remember. And that was just stupid. As a matter of fact, that may have been dumber. Do you remember the reason why he made that death threat?
No, I don't. That's been a couple of years ago, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's the reason why he made the death threat was that when his game went out of early access into full release, the image didn't update. So on the store page, it still showed early access on the icon. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And he got on Twitter, went on a Phil Fish-like rampage, threatened Gabe Newell, and then Gabe woke up, smited him, and then went back to sleep and dreamt about Half-Life 3.
Dreamt about his piles of money. His Scrooge McDuck money.
This is just such a glorious topic, and I'm sure the ride doesn't end yet.
Oh, no, I'm sure there's going to be more to talk about with this in the next few weeks.
Yeah, speaking of more things to talk about, shall we move on then?
Yes, let us move on. Our next topic is Pokemon Go's paying population has dropped by, and this is the full topic, not the shortened what I used at the beginning, has dropped 79%, but is still the most profitable mobile game.
Yeah, this just shows you the pay distribution for mobile games, doesn't it?
Yeah. I got to pull this article back up so I can see the graph, but...
Yeah, it is ridiculous. I knew whales were the driving force in mobile gaming, and probably part of the reason why I don't really get into mobile gaming. I play a little bit, but not much, and not even enough to really talk about. But the fact that the whales are keeping this one game, which I hesitate to call Pokemon Go even a game. If you want to talk about walking simulator...
Yeah.
This is not. This is walking. It's not even a walking simulator. This is walking the game. I just don't. I don't see why people are putting money into this game. Maybe it's just I'm old and I'm crippled, and I haven't played Pokemon in 15 years.
Yeah, just let's put this into a little bit more perspective. Pokemon Go at its height had somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 million active users. I don't remember exactly, but it was like high 60s, low 70s. So for easy math, I'm going to say 70 million. 79% of 70 million is 55,300,000 people. That's how many people stopped playing the game. But that does mean that it still has roughly 15 million active players still. So even though it lost 4/5 of its population, it's still the largest mobile game out there right now.
I wonder how many people are like me, heard about, Pokemon Go, downloaded it, looked at it for like 5 minutes. It's like, this is it?
Yeah. I mean, I did that.
Because I was expecting more of a game and not essentially a pedometer.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, if you want something to encourage you to go walk around and explore your town, then, maybe this is it. But for me, it was, Pokemon Go to church, because literally every Pokemon stop in my town was a church.
Yeah. I remember seeing somewhere, I think it was an Extra Credits episode where they were talking about whales and mobile gaming. Mm-hmm. I think they said that if you have a 2% population that's of players that's supporting the game, that's like the average that these mobile games shoot for. So what's 2% of 15 million?
Fuck you, money.
Let's see, 15 million people. My calculator's not working properly.
300,000. if I did this right. Or I may have done...
Yeah, 300,000. You did it right.
Oh, okay, well, it was one of those numbers that's like, really? That's 300,000? And one of the... Paul's like, wait, that can't be right. Oh, it is?
Which 300,000 people supporting a game is something that happens all the time with MMOs and other multiplayer titles. You know, a lot of free-to-play stuff, but like 300,000 is like a really decently populated game, multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a really, really good populated multiplayer game. And then, you know, if you've got like an MMO or something, that's pretty good. So, I mean, that's not... I don't know. I don't feel like that's that crazy.
Yeah, but Pokemon Go, really? I think that's the more unbelievable thing for me. Is just, can the Pokemon license really be bolstering this almost non-game? It's just unbelievable to me. Maybe it's just me being old.
I don't know. I don't really get it either. Although, I mean, I remember, you know, I played Pokemon as a kid. I played it quite a lot, and I enjoyed it. But
yeah, I did too.
I'm not nostalgic for Pokemon. It doesn't really hold that place in my childhood. So maybe that's why I don't get it. But I mean, there are tons of middle-aged people right now that grew up playing Pokemon, or you know, were teens when they played Pokemon. You know, that sort of thing. And I mean, they've got lots of disposable income, and you know, maybe they don't have a 3DS, but they've definitely got a smartphone. And this is the only...
here's the thing. Emulators.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of people that use emulators compared to the larger population of gamers. I mean, the people that run emulators, I feel like, are the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, maybe it's just the idea of being able to walk around and seeing, there's a Pokemon over there. I don't get where the monetization, why people feel like they have to buy into this.
They just want to play Pokemon more, man. Or maybe they're like us. They love Pokemon, but they live out in a rural area that has no Pokestops or anything. So they have to spend money in order to play as much as they'd like to.
Maybe that's it. The case of more money than time, and which has really seeped into AAA gaming. With all the pay-to-skip stuff and all the pay-to-cheat DLC that used to be cheat codes.
Yeah. Or just unlockables for, like, doing stuff. Oh, you want big head mode? There you go. You beat the game or you beat this level. It's yours now.
Oh, it's not even that anymore. It's, you know, give us $1 and you get big head mode.
Yeah, which I never was a fan of big head mode, to be honest. I always thought it made my people look stupid.
Well, that was the point of big head mode.
Yeah, fair enough.
Probably my favorite... mode was paintball mode and GoldenEye.
I remember that. That was fun. That's the reason that I actually played paintball in the real world. Until I realized how much paintball hurts. I'm kind of a wuss when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, Pokemon Go, still up there. According to this graph too, this is a graph, bar graph. Pokemon Go is pulling in 28.4% of all mobile revenue.
That's just insane.
By comparison, the next largest game is Candy Crush at 4.5%. Even both of the Candy Crush games, which are number 2 and 3, are only at 8% of the revenue. So Pokemon Go is still pulling in 3 times more money than both Candy Crush games. So, that is pretty crazy to me, how much money that thing is making. But, I mean, it's very clear. People love them Pokemans.
Yeah. Yeah, to the point that it made Nintendo's stock jump up quite a bit. And then the investors realized, wait, Nintendo doesn't actually control this game.
Nope.
They licensed down Pokemon, of course, but you know, they're getting a pittance compared to what whoever makes Pokemon Go is getting.
Yeah, I find it fascinating. Not something that I'm super into, but hey.
Yeah, I do. I find this idea fascinating. It's just I still don't get it. That's the thing.
I would play it if it had some more game mechanics.
Yeah, that's. I think that's the thing is that I called it a walking game because that's literally it. You go out, capture a Pokemon, and then shove candy down its throat, and then put it in a Pokemon gym in your town, and that's pretty much it, from what I can tell.
Yeah, they just added in the most recent update a new feature where you can have like a Pokemon buddy, and your buddy, like, depending on what type of Pokemon it is, either like walks beside your avatar on the screen or like sits on your shoulder or whatever, and that Pokemon can level up without. I mean, it generates candy to feed it so that you can level it up without having to catch a whole bunch of them. But that's the only other mechanic they've added outside of the stuff that was already there, the little bit that there was. And I'm like, well, that's
well, to bring out our whipping boy again. This game has less gameplay than No Man's Sky,
which is hard to do. Although there's a lot of walking in No Man's Sky. Although the walking in No Man's Sky doesn't burn calories. So I guess if you want to burn calories, Pokemon Go is definitely the game for you. Ready to go talk about Sony for a little while?
Sure.
All right. Sony's president criticizes No Man's Sky, saying that it wasn't a great PR strategy.
Yeah, in the no fucking shit department.
I find this fascinating. So Sony throws Hello Games under the bus, but Sony was the people who were in charge of the marketing for this game.
It's just a pure case of grab the money and run at this point because, well, I tweeted out a graph. Did you see that? I think I showed it to you, but I can't remember if I did or not.
I'm drawing
of No Man's Sky Twitter account. You didn't see this then?
I don't think I did. I don't remember
Okay,
this.
go look at my Twitter right now because it's...
Is it on Gaming with CR?
Yeah, it's very recent. It's not too far back.
Okay.
Look for... this is what Radio Silence looks like.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of tweets, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
Yeah, the chart... I may link this in the show notes. We'll have to see if I remember or not. It's a breakdown of all the tweets from @NoManSky, Sean Murphy's personal Twitter that he was just going off on. From January to today-ish, which I think this was put out the 19th, so September 19th-ish. Around late August to now, there's zero tweets. Huh, how about that?
Yeah. After the day after the official PC release, they stopped tweeting. And
not the day of. It's about a week.
I thought it was the day of release. That they...
Yeah. No, the high point is the release. That huge spike.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying the PC release. Not
no. It's the spikes are release date announcement. That's a big spike in late May. Reddit AMA. That's the first big spike in early August. Official PS4 release. That's the other big spike with a lot of retweets. Then official PC release. That's the big spike right after the official PS4 release. And then there's one more big spike right at August where they were doing all the, well, we're working on it, and then radio silence.
Yeah. There was another patch that came out this week. I posted a tweet about this. It was an 800 megabyte patch. No patch notes, again. And the only thing that...
Wow, that's amazing. Mind blown.
The only thing that people can tell that it changed is there was a bug that allowed you to stack normally unstackable items in your inventory so that you could save space. And they fixed, I'm making air quotes, fixed that bug. So now you can't stack items anymore that you normally couldn't stack. If you still have an item stack that's been done that way, it still works. But if you ever remove the stack from your inventory or try to move it from your person to your ship or vice versa, all of the items disappear except for one. So you lose the whole stack. You have to, if you're going to get rid of it, you have to sell it all in one go. Or craft it, I guess, all in one go. But still. Yep,
I've really wanted to be wrong about this game. I wanted Hello Games to prove me wrong. I'm not wrong. I called this 4.2 4.20, or sorry, 2.0. And boy, was I proven right. I wanted to be wrong about this. You were supposed to prove me wrong.
I wasn't supposed to do anything. But
but I can pick on you for buying this game some more.
I mean, I don't really think you're. I mean, if it makes you feel good,
I'm just taking I'm just making fun of you a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, someone said this on a podcast I listened to, or I think it was a podcast I listened to. They said that this was like a win-win for Sony. Like Sony hyped this game till the ends of the earth. And there's like a 99% chance they knew what was going on with this game.
Yeah, there's no way that Sony had this caught them completely off guard. They knew what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. So
maybe they were drinking the Kool-Aid, and they were just thinking that it was a lot better than what it was turning out to be, or it was just was expecting gamers to say, "That's it."
Yeah. So they hyped this game to the ends of the earth. This is the theory. Hyped it to the ends of the earth. It sold a cajillion copies, and when it was so negatively received, they blamed Hello Games and kind of washed their hands of it. So it's like Sony makes all the money, and then Hello Games gets stuck with all the blame. And I don't doubt that Sony was part of the reason that this game had problems. Like, I'm not blaming it all on Sony, but I guarantee you that they were pushing them. Like, okay,
well, you don't get a deal like this from Sony and not have strings attached. You don't have their suits there saying, "Well, you got to do this," or "You can't do this because you don't have the time. You won't meet your deadline." Yeah,
I guarantee you, Sony was pushing them to release the game as fast as they could. Because I mean, the game had been in development for years. Sony has been talking about this game for years. So I'm sure they were going, "Okay, come on, clock's ticking. You've got till this time. Clock's ticking. Let's go."
Yeah, and it probably took a lot of finagling just to get the delays that they got.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just one of those instances that I think we'll be looking at this release for years to come. I joked about this being Sport 2.0, and it is not just in the gameplay, but how the entire game was handled. The Sport itself, it had a division in the development team while it was being produced about how realistic that they wanted to do it. Do they want to be like the pre-release stuff that was shown, where it was a lot more realistic, where the design of your creatures mattered a lot more? Or do they want to be more of the cutesy side? And Will Wright was on the cutesy side, and that tipped the scales to that side. And we got what Spore became. Which is why it seems like two completely different games, because it is two completely different games. And I wonder if something like that happened with No Man's Sky. If there was some sort of division in how the development team was working. And Sean came down on one side and just tipped the scales.
Maybe so.
It feels like that, to be perfectly honest, because either that or he is a Peter Molyneux style, where, say whatever the fuck he has on his mind, and damn if it actually is true.
I do think that he's the young version of Peter Molyneux.
That's not a positive thing, though.
No, it's not a positive thing, but I really think that's what it is. I think he just gets carried away, which is, not a good thing, but yeah, I think that's the case with him.
Or this is also just the fact that he was talking about things that were on the drawing board. And Hello Games' previous games were pretty small scale, if I recall correctly. So he's not used to seeing things coming off the drawing board and being either scrapped or being put into expansions instead. So it could be just the fact that, he was talking about, things that he were seeing as possibilities that just never came to fruition because there just wasn't time.
Yeah. I just logged into the No Man's Sky refund group that I talked about a week or two ago on Discord, just looking and seeing what's going on. I haven't been here in a while. It looks like the group has shrank. People are giving up, I think.
Yeah, to give you an idea, their Hello Games' previous game was the Joe Danger games.
Yeah.
So these are very small scale compared to No Man's Sky, which No Man's Sky was most likely heavily funded by Sony, because you don't go from a Joe Danger to No Man's Sky without some external funding. So, yeah, I really think that this is a case of Sean Murray just promising things that were possibly on the drawing board because he's not used to building a game of this scope. So maybe it's just complete inexperience in this scope of game.
Yeah. It looks like... oh, man. So Steam is now just directing all No Man's Sky refund requests to their legal department. All of these people are posting images from their support tickets that are saying, Steam support is unable to assist you. If you want to pursue this matter farther, contact our legal department. And it has the address and everything that you need to put down there.
Well, something's wrong with the game if on the store page it says, the standard Steam refund policy applies to No Man's Sky. There are no special exceptions available. Click here for more details on the Steam refund policy.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is down to a 35% on reviews.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but these people are saying that lots of posts are being deleted from the No Man's Sky discussion group.
The Steam forums, I would expect it, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, the general discussion topics are down from 17,000 to 2,885. So, yep, somebody's getting rid of stuff. All right. Well, don't really care. I just think it is fun to watch. It's just really interesting. I wish all these gamer guys the best that are really pursuing this hard because whatever reasons they feel like they should, but it is pretty comical.
It's become their hobby now. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Either that or they are very pissed off, which, honestly, if you bought into the hype for No Man's Sky, the hype for No Man's Sky was actually bigger than what Spore was back in its day. So I could understand being very pissed off.
Well, I think hype has evolved since then. I mean, hype has always existed, but with just the changing internet and the changing business practices.
Just social media itself has changed how hype is generated greatly.
Yeah, because when Spore released, was DLC a thing, or were they still only expansion packs?
Spore had one DLC, but it was a code from Dr. Pepper, if I recall correctly. Mm-hmm. So technically it's DLC, but the thing is it's a promotional DLC.
Right. Yeah, it's just different internet, different culture, different business practices. So, I mean, there's definitely a comparison to be made there, but they're two fairly different scenarios.
Well, I think it's just the epic breakdown of hype. I mean, we've seen hyped up games falling left and right, especially Ubisoft titles.
Yeah.
Let's be perfectly frank there. But none have fallen this greatly, with the exception of maybe Assassin's Creed Unity and Batman Arkham Knight. Which I know Batman Arkham Knight isn't a Ubisoft title, but it's still the only other one that I can think of that's had this great a fall. But even that got fixed. Eventually.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed Unity is technically playable. But then it is an Assassin's Creed game, so they could just pass off all the glitches as, well, no, that's a feature of the game here. The Artemis is glitching. Woo!
Yeah.
Or whatever MacGuffin they're using now. Because I'll be perfectly honest, I don't follow the Assassin's Creed series. I played the first one. I was utterly bored. So they could have moved on from the Artemis to something else that's sending you back in time, or back in time in sarcasm quotes.
I don't know. I haven't
But, it's still the same basic idea of, you're essentially having a fever dream, dreaming of your past ancestor to get information somehow, sci-fi bullshit technology, mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. The last game I played was in the Assassin's Creed series was Black Flag.
That doesn't count.
No, yeah, I know. But the animus in that story was just like...
a pirate ship.
Yeah, it was like, hey, you come see if you've got some cool stuff in your past. We're building a video game about cool stuff. Like, that was just actually the plot of the game. It's like, hey, come see if you got cool stuff. Oh, you're a pirate in your past. Yeah, let's use that and build a game around it. Like, that's the whole point of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So, the animus basically just becomes a toy after the end of Assassin's Creed 3.
Honestly, with how convoluted I've heard some of the Assassin's Creed plot lines have gotten, can't blame them.
Well, I mean, Black Flag is widely regarded as one of the best. It's like the Assassin's Creed 2 trilogy and Black Flag are like, these are awesome.
Well, from what I've heard, essentially, if you remove the Artemis parts of Assassin's Creed Black Flag and called it something else, people wouldn't realize it was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Pirate frenzy-ness.
Pirate's Code.
I feel like that's a game already.
Probably.
I'm just going to Google this really quick before we move in.
And now you're going to get into Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirate's Code is a board game.
Oh, well, there you go. Get the license from that.
I knew I'd heard that name before. Pirate's Code. Okay, well, let's move
Booty Buccaneers. There you go.
Did you say Booty Buccaneers?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an alternate name now.
I'm sold. Yeah, I'm sold on that. Let's go.
I knew I would get one sale with that.
All right. Well, let's move from one Sony issue to another Sony issue. Farming Simulator 17 is going to be getting mods on the PS4.
Yeah, and this is a follow-up for last week's. Just a complete and utter Bethesda throwing Sony under the bus.
Yeah, which leads me to believe that one of two things. Either Sony's excuse was bullshit and there's actually some bad blood going between them and Bethesda for some reason, which might explain why Bethesda threw them under the bus so hard. Or Farming Simulator 17 agreed to all of their crazy curation restrictions.
Yeah, which I'm going to take a guess on saying it's probably the latter,
Probably.
I would imagine also Farming Simulator wouldn't have nearly the content to curate.
I was about to say that. Yeah, Farming Simulator, while a well-respected and successful gaming series, is nowhere near as big or widely known as Skyrim or any other Bethesda game for that matter. So it could be just, like you said, the sheer... I almost said lack of content.
The sheer weight of content for Bethesda to try to curate and quality test just wouldn't be feasible.
Yeah.
But it would be feasible for Farming Simulator just because, oh, look, you get a new type of cow that has a dick drawn on the side. Well, you can't have that.
Oh, I now want to go shave a dick into the side of one of my mom's cows that she raises.
Well, now you have your project for tonight.
I'm definitely not going to do that tonight.
Instead of cow tipping, it's cow dick shaving. Wait, that sounds like something completely different.
Yeah. Although I have eaten cow penis and testicles, and they're not that bad. Just consider that part of the cleaning process. Anyways,
that got off track.
Yeah. I didn't think this was going to be like a huge conversation, but I think we already solved it. It's just that the amount of curated, content that requires curation is going to be so much less for this as compared to...
Yeah, but this Skyrim. Is also just going to piss off the people that were going to buy Skyrim and have bought Fallout even further.
Yeah.
Sony needs to release some sort of statement about Bethesda, and I haven't seen them do that yet.
I haven't either. And I do think that it's stupid that Sony is not going to make some kind of exception or something for Bethesda to allow mods, but they're not required to. You know, they don't have to do anything. It's not like this is something where I'm like, okay, you're being like awful, breaking the law or something like that. I think it's a dumb decision, but they're not required to do it. Yeah,
this is just... well, I applauded Sony last week for leveling the playing field. This is just them doing it further.
Yeah.
Making the Xbox look even better somehow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that pretty much covers that topic. That was like a record.
It was more of just of a follow-up for last week. Otherwise, we wouldn't have really talked about it at all. It's just one of those things that it shows Sony doesn't really understand what gamers want, I think.
Well, I mean, that goes back to Japanese companies not understanding gaming in the 21st century.
Well, Japanese companies, they are very insular on what they think. They are concerned about Japan's market. Yeah. Everything else could go to hell.
Yeah, Japan has a huge...
Well, it's like that for Japanese companies in general. Just look at anime. Anime numbers, they care about the DVD, Blu-ray sales in Japan. They care about the viewers in Japan. And that's it. An anime that's popular overseas, that isn't popular in Japan, doesn't get a follow-up series or doesn't get a spin-off or whatever.
Yeah, they don't really care about the global market very much, which is...
It's very short-sighted of them. And I think this is Sony being very short-sighted.
Yeah.
Or at least Sony Games, I should say, because Sony is a very large company with a lot of branches.
Yeah, at this point, Sony is a multinational corporation, but I mean, their headquarters is in Japan. They started in Japan, so
yeah. Sony is a global company, but their games division is still very insular with the Japanese market. And I think if they don't change that, they're going to. Well, I shouldn't say they're going to. They pretty much have lost any advantage that they've had for this console generation or console half generation or what are we even going to call this with the Pro? Which the PlayStation Pro. That's such a stupid name.
I mean, I think that console generations are dead. Basically, I think we're just now going to get iterative design.
It's going to be the mobile style of where it's the PlayStation 4 Pro Plus.
I mean, they'll probably still keep calling it. They'll probably call it the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5, whatever, the PlayStation 6. Like they'll keep doing that, but we're not going to see generations anymore. We're just going to see step-ups in technology every so often.
Welcome to the glorious PC Master Race.
Yep.
Because essentially that's what I'm doing right now is just upping my own computer, and it's not a generation boost.
Nope, just upgrade the parts of the hardware that really need it the most, which most of the time is processors and GPUs. But
processor, GPU, and then sometimes hard drive space.
Yeah. Usually you're good with RAM for a while. I mean, we're probably going to see a leap in the next year or two where that 16 gigabytes of RAM becomes the standard and 8 gigabytes of VRAM becomes maybe not the standard, but recommended. Right now, recommendations tend to hover around 4 gigs, but I think pretty soon we're going to see that jump up to 8. But regardless, that's...
Yeah, with the minimum being 4.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've got one more news topic, which is Dear Esther is becoming a play, as in, like, on-stage play. And
from the What the Fuck files?
I can't understand why. I thought this was...
this is an article I found. I looked at it, looked at the title of the game, looked at the article again, and just kind of sat there for a moment, trying to process this. Because this, out of all the games I could think of that would turn into plays, Dear Esther is probably on the very bottom of that list.
Yeah. Because there's really...
Dear Esther was one of the games that really coined the term, had the term coined for it, walking simulator.
Yeah. Yeah, and that doesn't really suit plays very well. I can see video games actually making some really excellent plays, because with play, have you ever been to like an interactive theater production?
Not interactive theater, but I have been to the theater before.
I've been to a few.
Because I am civilized as fuck.
I've been to a few interactive theater productions, and I think that game stories would be great for those, because games already have you as the player making decisions about things. You know, I could see like a Telltale styled play, for example, where the audience maybe votes on choices, or certain audience
holds
members
up like a sign or something.
Yeah. And that would be an awesome play, because you could go see it several times and like see different things happen, and that would be cool. But Dear Esther,
I would imagine it'd be hell on the actors, because that's a lot of extra stuff to rehearse that may not even be shown.
That is true. Although a lot of interactive stuff that I have experienced is a lot of improv. Yeah. So you could do that. I mean, because you could set guidelines to improv, which honestly would give it even more viewability. I almost said replayability, but that kind of works because it's a play.
It would be replayability.
Yeah. Accidental pun. That does not happen with me very often. Usually I'm very intentional about my puns. But yeah, although Dear Esther is just walking around, listening to a narrator sometimes, reading things, and music.
I figured it out.
Yes?
I figured out what this play is going to be.
Okay.
Okay, it's going to be the curtain rises. There will be a little bit of a scene there, be the narrator talking for 2 hours.
And just some guy on a treadmill walking as the background it's one of those rolling backgrounds, and it just kind of scrolls by as he's walking for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that games could make some good plays, some good theater, but
to take a game that we've done in the game club to the moon as a play.
That would be awesome. I'd love to see that. Just have some guy on a piano playing that one song the whole time, and then the whole play goes. That'd be amazing. I want to go. I want to see that. I'm gonna call up the Tivoli Theater in Chattanooga and be like, "Hey, you guys should do this."
Hey, I have a game that I want you to play, and then make a play out of it.
They probably would look at me like I was a crazy. Well, I'd be calling them. They'd say I was a crazy person on the phone and hang up on me.
No, that's when you go down there with your laptop and say, "Hey, I gotta show you something."
And then they'd throw me off the premises for being a crazy person.
Well, to up the ante, wear a trench coat.
Actually, I saw
shorts under it.
I saw a client for a few months this past year who was an actress at the Tivoli. Maybe if I call her up, although that could be breaking ethics, I need to do some research on the ethics code to make sure I don't break any laws. But I could call her up and pitch this idea.
I've sold you on this idea so much that you're looking at the ethics code to see if this can be done.
I think I'm fine as long as I don't try and make any money off of it, because then we wouldn't be entering a business decision or a business deal. I think I'm fine, but I'll probably talk to my supervisor about that just to make sure. I genuinely am going to try and contact this person and pitch this idea to them. I'm going to do that this week.
Whoa, if I'm looking for a new co-host in the coming weeks, you know why now.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Kyle, get ready.
I mean, I'll tell you next week how it went.
Yeah, Chemist, I would have you, but time zone difference would probably be hell on you after a few weeks. Yeah. But we would have you for a guest again.
Yeah.
Well, even without Jared going to jail.
I don't think I'd lose my jail. I'd just lose my license.
No. Here's the thing. You lose your license, and Katie kicks you out. Well, then I guess after a couple weeks, you end up on my recliner. Then we have you on the podcast again.
Yep.
So we would just need a filler host.
Yeah, just for a couple of weeks in the interim.
Well, you hitchhike up here.
Well, I mean, my car's in my name. I'd drive. Okay. Well, now that sad thought is out of the way, let's go to our community corner where we have. This week we've got an audio letter from Kyle and an audio letter from a special character. Rage, what is the name of our special character?
Well, I came up with the name of Crash, but Kyle hasn't accepted that name yet.
Right. Well, this week, because of time travel, since we're doing this in the past.
Well, technically, we are always doing this in the past.
Fair play. We're just going to go with Crash, and if we have to revise his name next week, we'll come up with a thematic reason why. Let's start with Kyle.
Greetings, J. Arthur and Caffeine Rage. This is Kyle coming at you with a topic that kind of mutated while I was researching it, so let's do this. See, as Rage likely mentioned earlier in the episode, I've been playing a lot of Spintires, specifically multiplayer and specifically with him. Now, I was really interested to learn more about the whole developer-publisher time bomb thing that happened a few months ago. So, the story. For those of you who are unfamiliar, back in February of this year, 2016, Spintires encountered what was basically a computerized time bomb. And people thought that the developer, a guy named Pavel, put it in because he was getting screwed over by the developer, a company named UV. So the story that came out around this was that Pavel, a man scorned by UV, decided to take matters into his own hands. After having not been paid into his latest batch of software that he sent to update the game to UV, he included several time bombs, things that would make the game crash and would make the publisher have to go back to him in order to fix the game, and he would have several of these just to make sure that UV was playing ball. It was a very dramatic story of a man taking on a corporation to claim what was rightfully his, and he didn't care who got in the way or how badly the game got hurt. He needed to do what was right. And for most people, that's where the story ends. However, that's also entirely wrong. What actually happened was just a miscommunication between UV and Pavel. It was basically an anti-piracy measure that was implemented that wasn't implemented properly just because UV and Pavel are really bad at communicating with each other. I mean, if you look at most of the problems between this dev and this publisher, it's mostly just a breakdown in communication and a litany of misunderstandings. So rather than cover my original topic for this week, the relationship between developer, publisher, and player, I decided to cover something else. Why is it that the internet really latched on to the idea that Pavel was sabotaging his own game and that UV was corrupt and evil? I think it's because people like thrilling heroics. I mean, that sounds like a really cool plot for like a movie or something. A man scorned decides to take action into his own hands. Can one man bring down a company? Rather than, hey, we just kind of fucked up and we didn't talk too well to each other. And because we didn't words good with other people, the pirate thing with the other thing and the date didn't really do the thing and made an oops. See, A, that was very confusing to listen to. But B, that's just way more banal and boring and just everyday and human. What strikes me as more interesting is the fact that even though I wasn't playing Spintires at the time, I still heard about this story. I still heard about Pavel taking on this company. I still heard about this company screwing over Pavel, and I never heard what the resolution of that was at a time when it was contemporary. Now, I could have gone and seeked it out, but at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, those correct facts never made it to me until I actually started researching this topic for today. And in case people are wondering, it is the 20th of September 2016, so I am 7 months behind the times on this. So what? I mean, they already have my money, and they've had it for a while, since before this whole time bomb thing. Well, I'm not thinking about the people who've already bought the game, I'm thinking about the people who haven't bought the game yet. See, when it comes down to it, if people don't research this before buying the game, they might still think that the publisher is a piece of shit, the developer is willing to torpedo his own project, and this game could potentially crash at any time due to some time bombs in there over some latent payment stuff. And that's really unfortunate because at the end of the day, Spintires is really fun. A bit overpriced, but really fun. So was there a point to this? Well, first off, people need to stop jumping to the worst possible conclusions. There isn't like some big conspiracy that people are trying to take away the things that you love. It's usually just somebody somewhere forgot to read a memo, and then something somewhere down the line screwed up. Also, it's up to individuals to make sure that they're still well informed inside of this hobby that we all enjoy. I mean, like I said, I was in the dark for 7 months, and while I would like to blame that on the news not covering good news as much as potentially horrific and conspiratorial news, that's still on me. I could have looked up that article at any time. The Kotaku article that shed a lot of light on this was published on March 3rd of this year, so it's been sitting there like a time bomb for a while. Anyways, I'm not sure that there was a whole lot of discussion points to this, but I'm hoping y'all are having a good night. Alright, I'll catch you both later.
All right, there was Kyle talking to us about Spintires.
And while we have Rule 4 of VGL, thou shalt trust but verify.
Yeah, I went and I cleaned those up earlier, by the way. Because they were in just, like, normal words, and then I added the thou shalts and the thou shalt nots to them.
Yeah, we never did announce the proper wording for the fifth commandment.
Right.
Because we were working on it in the podcast, then afterwards I came up with about the perfect wording for it.
Right. Thou shalt buy video games, not developer promises. That's number 5. When we get to 10, we should make a t-shirt of the 10 VGL commandments. I don't know how much money we would lose doing that unless all of our listeners want to buy one, but I would totally do it. I would spend some money to get that t-shirt made.
That would be something. I would have to try to figure out how to do it.
Well,
or we may want to go get a real artist to do it.
I've had custom t-shirts made before for jobs that I've had, so I've got some people that I've worked with before, although none of them are artists. They're like, it's like, here's a big book of things, and we'll just put your company logo in this. So I guess we'd have to design it, but we could just, you just give them the design. It's like, here's what I want on my t-shirt.
Yeah, but the thing is that a lot of what I do is, I'm close to Digital Homicide, is that I remix images from Google Image Search.
Right.
So I'm not sure of the legality of selling t-shirts with that on it.
Yeah. Well, anyone in our audience is pretty proficient with Photoshop that wants to volunteer for doing this in the future.
Simple. We get Kyle to draw it on Post-it notes, and we just stick a Post-it note on our shirt.
Here's what we want. Make this. Okay.
No. It's we sell the Post-it notes.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, and it's a pack of 10 Post-it notes. Nice.
That was a weird snort I just made from breathing.
Yeah, I was about to say, what was that?
That was a weird allergy snort thing. It's gross. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Though that is the outtake.
Just laugh at the funny sound. Okay, let's get back on track and talk about Kyle's audio letter.
Yeah, which he is right that I'm pretty sure we latched on this narrative too, that it was a developer time bomb. But the thing is did. That for it to be anti-piracy measures, this is a weird way to do it, just because it really relies on the developer constantly updating to push this time bomb back. And as we learned from Hello Games, development timelines often fail.
Yeah.
So I could understand why people latched onto the idea that it was a infighting between the developer and the publisher, particularly when the publisher and the developer are having such communication problems to begin with.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is a very dumb way to do anti-piracy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people really latched onto the idea just because people want things to have meaning. We need things.
It's a lot sexier to see the idea of the developer and publisher fighting than see, it's just, they're stupid about how they're doing their anti-piracy measures.
Yeah, it's like, we screwed this one up, guys. Like, that's not interesting.
We done fucked up.
Yeah, it's not interesting. It's not exciting. It doesn't build this narrative that we want. It's just like, this is everyday life. People miscommunicate sometimes and screw up.
Yeah, and it doesn't get the clicks. That's the thing, is that the retraction, saying, this is what actually happened.
Yeah.
Won't get the clicks that saying, well, the developer and publisher are fighting over this game.
Yeah. There's a thing that I've heard, and I don't know where it comes from specifically. I've just heard it before from a couple of people.
And a matter of fact, I never even heard of this story, by the way. But then again, I haven't been watching for it, so.
Yeah. But anyways, there's this saying that I've heard people use before that's everybody reads the headline, nobody reads the retraction.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just like, we see this thing, we think that's how it went, and unless we actually have a vested interest in whatever it is, we just move on with our lives.
Yeah, Kyle was talking about how he never saw the retraction or the correction articles until he actively went to look for it, and I never heard of them either. And I've been actively looking for news for the last year.
Yeah.
So, if I didn't see it, then it wasn't that big an article to begin with.
Right.
I mean, granted, I'm not the all-seeing eye here.
Well, I think this is the kind of thing that you would have to specifically seek out.
Yeah.
Or just get really lucky and see it among the, hundreds, thousands of news topics that pop up every week. Which, a lot of them are just like garbage posts, but, there's tons of stuff just being thrown out there all the time from all directions. So either you've got to seek it out or just be in the right place at the right time.
And also the fact that it was on Gotaku, which is a site I actively avoid.
Yeah, I don't spend much time reading Gotaku either.
Gotaku is a site that you're swimming in a sewer to get a diamond.
Right. And I'd rather just leave the diamond down there.
Yeah, I don't want to go shoveling through all the shit. Just have Reddit sift it all out for me.
Yeah. It's not worth the time and effort. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add? Because I basically am just deferring to you. Because
not really. It's I still hesitate to recommend Spintires, even if this anti-piracy thing is true, which I haven't gone to look at this article yet. Because I listened to the audio letter about 15 minutes before recording time. Just before you actually contacted me, Jared. So I haven't had the time to do that. But even if that's the case, the way that they handled their anti-piracy still makes me hesitate to recommend Spintires to most people.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's a very niche game in general.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking for a pretty realistic off-road game with some extra stuff to it, then that's right for you. But if you don't really care about that stuff, then there's no point in buying it, no matter how cheap it gets. Thankfully, I'm the kind of person who likes that sort of thing, so. Okay. Well, that does it for our audio.
Just remember, trust but verify.
That's right. That does it for our audio letter from Kyle. But let's hear our new character on the show give his thoughts about Call of Duty.
What's up, you fucking noobs? This is that one guy's latest dude bro tips for Call of Duty Black Ops. Are you tired of running around the corner and having some noob with a shotgun just blow you the fuck away? Alright, well I personally use the AK-47 because I'm a manly man. But here's the thing, it isn't so great at close quarters combat. So what I end up doing is I use the Master Key. Whenever I'm breaching and sweeping, I like having a shotgun, especially at close range, so that I don't have some little noob bitch blow my fucking brains out. Anyways, the Master Key gives you the nice balance between close quarters combat and medium long range, which assault rifles excel at. Not to mention, you'll be able to keep the M82 Law as your secondary weapon to take down those fucking noob spy planes and counter spy planes. Yeah! Alright, well this has been that one guy's Dude Bro Tips.
Okay, well that was Crash, our new character, our Call of Duty advice giver.
At least for this week.
Yeah. He'll tell us about some high-pitched dude bro stuff later. Something else. I don't know, maybe we'll pick a different game. Or do more Call of Duty stuff. There's actually two versions of this, just so that you guys know. And the original version, because obviously this has been highly doctored, is going to be after the credits if you want to hear the original.
I threatened Kyle to say that if he sent in a dude bro thing, I would be editing it. And that's what I did to it.
Yeah. So after the credits, you can hear the original, which is still really funny.
Well, to be fair, I did send this to Kyle before we recorded this, and he gave the okay to run it. So, and he thought it was hilarious too.
Yeah, whenever I listened to it, I laughed. So I laughed so hard I had to stop, so I didn't hurt myself.
Well, the thing is, you also had no idea what I did to it. I've warned Kyle what I did to it Well,
Yeah.
I said Kerbal. I'm proud of myself for what I did to that file.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And actually, that's pretty solid Call of Duty advice. I mean, it depends on who you're playing with and what mode and all that jazz, but that's a pretty good weapon combo right there. Nice versatility. So, yeah.
Yeah, but he needs to lay off the caffeine or something. Whew.
He needs to lay off of you.
What, you getting jealous?
No, I'm just waiting for a threesome.
Oh, well, shall we quickly go to the question of the week?
Yeah, let's go to the question of the week.
Okay, question of the week I put out there. How would you fix the Steam reviews? And we got a lot of responses for this one.
Okay.
Million Lights. Best review of a game when Steam discounts monthly. Purposely false/bad loses the rights to review after 5 strikes.
That's interesting.
Chemist. Like refunds, no solution without curation. Funny shouldn't count towards the average, but having everyone vote allows for abuse. Groove. A reputation system for reviewers, removing the funny section/button. Don't allow publishers to have influence via gateways. Which I didn't think of a reputation system. That's actually a really good idea. Kyle. Lockout dev editing. A dedicated and independent third-party review network. And 3-strike spam policy, which is also would really work. And be cool. Take Val's underpants. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Stream reviews are great again. And Andrew Mason suggests burning everything to the ground. Remove the review function.
Well, that works.
And, well, that's it for the question of the week. And Kyle actually had one as well. And we'll lump that in as soon as I find where I put it on here. Because I had it. Here it is. Kyle also threw out, if you had the power to gift one game to all your friends, what would you share with everyone? And we both have answers in this, but it's towards the end of the list. So, Groove Kerbal Space Program, as literally everyone should own it. Chemist, anything expensive that I could refund back into my own wallet. I think he misses the point of this exercise.
No, I like the way he thinks. I like that.
I chimed in with, barring all the joke answers, I would go for a more niche game. Something that people want to try on their own. Something like No Moria, Stardew Valley, Space Chem, Neo Scavenger, Blood Bowl, Frozen Synapse, or The Guild 2. And those are just games that I picked randomly out of my library.
Yeah.
Then you chimed in with?
I said, good question. Probably Honey Pop. Everyone needs to experience that. Or Panzer Models.
Oh, wow.
They are niche games that people normally wouldn't try on their own. So, bam.
True.
Gotcha.
True.
I was being serious, too. That was not a joke answer.
But for visual novels, I would probably go, something a little bit more general. Maybe If My Heart Had Wings. I've heard that's a pretty good one. Granted, I haven't played it myself.
It is pretty good. Well, the mobile version that's free. That was pretty good.
Well, that's just the one that I could think of offhand that isn't terribly expensive either. Then you could go with something like Clannad as well, but that's a $60 visual novel that's 100 hours plus.
Or you could go with Panzer Models because it's quirky and fun. And I mean, you get to have sex with a tank, so.
Yeah, well, you're just interested in the tailpipe anyway.
The ammo rack.
Well, since we're into the tweets already, Kyle did tweet out a comic of why he thinks insurance companies makes him feel fat because of body mass index. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw it. I liked it.
And then Kyle also tried to get a erotic fan fiction of the two of us.
Yeah, that didn't work out. I didn't feel right contributing to my own erotic fan fiction, but maybe I should do that.
Now the question is, should I do a joke voice for this tweet or try to actually do this with a decent voice?
Up to you.
I'll do a decent voice since I threatened to do my bad Gilbert Gottfried impersonation. As Caffeine Rage reached his manly hand towards Jared's joystick, they knew that this was the moment that they would become one by doing butt stuff.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm so happy right now. You have no idea how happy I am right now.
I'm glad you don't have your webcam on.
I think you're extra glad I don't even have a webcam.
Let's see, Aki, nude art, and Terabang, Groove. Just let me capture that in a sculpture real quick. I think it looks really great, and they're referencing my RimWorld gameplay. I'm at least assuming that's what Aki's talking about, because Aki has a tendency of crying and running around butt naked, and then Groove was making sculptures about it. RimWorld is a glorious, glorious thing, what can I say? And if you wish to join the madness, drop me a line on Twitter, Gaming with CR, and I'll add you to my colony list.
Ding.
Well, it's referencing in this.
I know.
Then Chemist, Going to Joysticks nominates No Man's Sky for 7 categories, including Visuals, Innovation, and Best Studio. Shame there's no Best Multiplayer. And this is another thing. I saw the announcements of the nominations, and I just laughed and laughed and laughed.
I will give them visuals. I mean, basically, No Man's Sky at this point is a screensaver generator. So I'll give them that one. But otherwise, yeah.
They have Game of the Year nominations on the PlayStation and overall. Think about that.
There's been a lot better games that have come out this year. I'm sure there are.
I think Digital Homicide has a better chance.
No, I don't think so. I don't. No, Digital Homicide's gone. Those poor, sad little bastards.
But it's just, I saw those nominations. It's another one of those things that I just sat there and looked at it like, have they read anything about these games? And I actually tweeted out about this as well because, let's see, for PC Game of the Year, Civ 6 was on the list.
That's not even out yet.
Yeah. And I also found World of Warships on the list.
Beta, so technically not out, but you can play it, so...
Yeah, but it's also been in pretty much open beta since last year.
Yeah, fair play.
So, how are they choosing these games? Hell if I know. Is it just, these games are the most hyped this year? And the fact that No Man's Sky is on this list is just hilarious. Which Kyle responds, I'm just glad to see Half-Life 3 get a nomination for Best Multiplayer. When Half-Life 3, well, I shouldn't say when, if Half-Life 3 ever comes out, there is no way it's going to live up to any of the hype about it.
No, I think we've said this several times. Like I
think the best thing for Valve to do for Half-Life 3, especially since there's this just mythos about it now, don't do a huge build-up. Don't have a huge ad campaign. Just release it on like a Friday and watch the internet go batshit.
Yeah.
Because that would be just the glorious thing. And probably the best way to avoid any letdown of hype. Because, them talking about this game at all, I think, would just be to the point where there's just no way to live up to it. Unless, they're very, very low-key about it. And Valve doesn't do low-key.
How? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the categories for the Golden Joystick. How the heck is Quantum Break in the Innovation of the Year category? You've got Guitar Hero Live, HTC Vive, No Man's Sky, Oculus Rift.
You know, we should have
PlayStation VR.
we should have broken down the golden joysticks.
We'll do that next time. The voting goes on for a little while, so.
Yeah, we have next week, and the game club isn't going to be that long.
Nah.
But yeah, the golden joysticks are just a bunch of hilarity we should have done this week. But we had other topics.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, that's the end of the Twitter. So if you wish to contribute, you could send us a tweet at BTL Podcast or email us btlpodcast@gmail.com. You do not have to do a funny voice or have me edit your funny voice to contribute. We will accept text letters as well, or really anything you want to contribute.
Yeah.
If you wish to do your video as a, or do your letter as a sock puppet in a video, I'll link to it.
That would be amazing. I'd love a sock puppet video letter.
A new character. And moving swiftly along to our weekly picks.
That is correct. As always, you start, and we shall alternate.
Okay, well, my first pick, I picked this, Just Cause.
But,
well, to be fair, the second one, Just Cause 2. It is just a wacky sandbox of destruction. I will say that I do have my reservations about Just Cause 2. Partly the control scheme. It uses a very non-standard control scheme, and if you're coming into this game after not playing it for a while, you'll have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Granted, maybe it's better on a controller, but I don't play these type of games with a controller. Well, mostly. Typically what I do with these type of games is I juggle. I do mouse and keyboard on foot, and then I play with a gamepad whenever I'm driving. Trying to get the best of both worlds. And yes, I know, I'm weird.
okay.
But just because of the oddball control scheme, it is a little bit of a hesitation on that part. But it has a lot of stuff to do. There's if you're OCD, this is a game that will keep you busy for ages. Because it's not in the top 5 of biggest maps anymore, but it is up there in map size. And there is a lot to do. There's different activities. There's different collectibles. There's different hidden things to go find. It's just a lot of stuff to do. And really the storyline is kind of inconsequential. The reason why you're doing this, Just Cause.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I cannot believe I laughed at that. That is such a bad joke. And you did it twice.
Well, it's the second game in the series. If I was talking about the third one, I'd have to find a third way to fit it in.
That's what she said. Bam. Got it in there. That's what I said. Wink. Okay. Sorry. Were you finished, or did you have more to say? Or I kind of...
No, I'm pretty much finished. And that's what he said.
Yeah.
Typically, the game is $14.99. A very cheap game to begin with. It's 75% off, bringing it down to $3.74.
All right. Well, I just realized that I put these games on the list backwards because one of them came first in a series. So I'm actually going with the second one first, which is Sunrider Mask of Arcadius. This is a free-to-play game, actually, that when I saw the other Sunrider game, Sunrider Academy, I thought, I should recommend this. It is a visual novel-style game, but it has turn-based strategy elements to it. It's in a sci-fi world. You are the captain of a starship. And
is the starship a high school?
No, it's not. But you're the captain of a starship, and there is a war that happens, and you, being the captain of the most advanced prototype warship for your planet or faction, whatever you want to call them, group of people, takes your ship and escapes, and you have turn-based battle sections where that you fight your way through, and each of the characters that you pick up has something that they do to help you. So some of them are pilots who pilot battle mechs or fighters or other ships that you eventually get in your party. Some of them are like mechanics that can give you bonuses or little side characters that you can have like romance subplots with and stuff like that. The game offers a number of choices with some branching paths. There's really only a couple of different endings that you can get, but basically you win or you lose, but each of them has, actual full-blown endings that go with the scenarios. But anyways, there's some decisions to make. This was this studio's first attempt at a game like this, and they released it for free. It's actually 2 or 3 years old.
Did they sue people that were giving it bad reviews?
I don't think so, but it's got a lot of positive reviews. It's a really well-told sci-fi story. The battle mechanics are pretty good, actually, surprisingly.
Well, there is a subgenre of visual novels that has gameplay like this.
Yeah.
This isn't unusual. It's just unusual to see it for free.
Yeah. I love the voice acting. Now, that's not all lines of dialogue are voice acted. It's mostly reading. But there are certain parts of it that do have voice acting. And then during battles, characters have things that they say. And I really like it.
Bonsai?
It's cute. Now, I don't think there's anyone that says bonsai.
Oh, that's disappointing.
But there's one...
I'm gonna take points off of it for that.
There's one girl that should be saying bonsai because she's like crazy, but her thing is she just says over and over again, "I'm firing my lasers," except with really cute anime voice. So I'm firing my lasers. That's not cute. But regardless, this is a really fun visual novel with the nifty little mechanics, and I have played this game a lot. It's normally free, and it's on sale for free, so you should totally pick it up for free.
Well, I have a feeling this is going to end up on the Game Club list.
It should, actually. I haven't thought about this game in forever. Like I said, it came out a couple of years ago. I beat it, and I was like, that was neat. And then I just kind of left it sitting for a long time. But when I saw Sunrider Academy, which is the prequel to it, I remembered it, and I was like, I should put this on the Game Club list. Or not the Game Club list, my weekly picks. So yeah, your turn.
Okay, well, sticking in Asia, going down to Hong Kong with Sleeping Dogs, the Definitive Edition. This is, the replacement for the version of Sleeping Dogs I played, which Sleeping Dogs is probably the best version of a GTA style mixed with Batman Arkham style combat, which this actually came out before Arkham. So this was, I should say the original Sleeping Dogs, if I recall correctly, it came out before Arkham. But it has a very flowing melee combat system that you wouldn't really think of with a sandbox game like GTA. Now, my problem with the game, I have a couple of them. One, this is the Definitive Edition, so it has all the DLC installed on it. And you're thinking, why is that bad? Well, Sleeping Dogs itself had a lot of pay-to-cheat DLC. And I'm not sure if you're able to disable the pay-to-cheat DLC in the Definitive Edition, or if it's still there. If it is, that kind of messes up the game flow. Because honestly, there's not a lot of reason to have some of the overpowered weapons and cars that they give you, because the difficulty of the game felt pretty spot on. My other real problem with the game is the second half of the game. The story is absolutely brilliant from start to finish. I absolutely love the story. The problem with it is that it shifted focus away from melee combat and into more gunplay. And honestly, the gunplay, while passable, well, except for some rather extreme auto-targeting, which I was not using a keyboard, or I was using a keyboard and mouse. I was not using a gamepad for. And it was making it so that I was shooting people that I wasn't supposed to be shooting. Just because I would snap to the wrong target.
Okay.
Well, once again, that is the non-definitive edition. I want to make that clear. It could have been fixed in the definitive edition, and I just haven't played it. There's really no reason for me to buy the definitive edition when I have the basic version already. But the gunplay, it just felt mediocre, especially compared to just how great the melee combat felt. And it really felt like a disservice to an otherwise great game. And The driving in this game, it's not quite GTA 4-esque, but it's more realistic. So if you're coming in from the GTA 3 era, you're going to have a little bit of problems with it, but it's not that bad. It's not as extreme as GTA 4, where the cars have a real realistic weight system to it. So if you slam on the brakes, you're going to spin out. But it does take a little bit of practice to get used to. But Hong Kong is just done very amazingly in this game. Granted, it is, of course, a smaller version of Hong Kong, but having a Asian-themed GTA with melee combat, it was done really well, and I will always recommend Sleeping Dogs, even if it's the definitive edition, which I have my reservations with, but I still think it's worth checking out. It's normally $30. It's 75% off, bringing it down to $7.49.
Nice. Well, I just discovered that Sunrider Mask of Arcadius has a sequel, so I'll probably be buying that later. But that's not the next game on my list. The next game on my list is Sunrider Academy, which is a prequel to Sunrider Mask of Arcadius, which is the story of some of the people...
So should I not flip these in the list?
It's up to you. I mean, I read Mask of Arcadius first, so I would just leave them the way you have them now. Anyways, Sunrider Academy.
Making my job more difficult.
Yeah.
Keep this up and I'm just going to hang up and start installing my graphics card.
Oh god, please don't do that at this point. Anyways, Sunrider Academy is a prequel to Mask of Arcadius, where you play some of the characters who meet each other in the academy, where they, are getting pilot training. And it is more...
this is the high school.
Yeah. It is more traditional, kind of just storytelling visual novel, although it does have that kind of stats-based thing where it's like, okay, it's my free period. Should I go to lunch? Or not lunch. Should I go to gym or study hall? And it's like you go to gym, you get stronger. You go to study hall, you get smarter.
So it's the dating sim / visual novel genre.
Yeah. Only there's not really dating in it. I mean, there's like relationship management, but...
okay, so Long Live the Queen.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like Long Live the Queen. And it, again, is fun. Good story, fun gameplay mechanics. Just more of that. I wish it had some kind of turn-based battle system. I don't know what they would do, but like you have clubs that you're a part of, and there's like a fencing club and stuff like that. It's like it'd be cool if they had like a fighting mini game, but they don't. So, still though, if you like visual novels, if you like me,
all simple. The high school transforms.
If you like cute girls doing cute things, then this one's for you. So, normally it is $10. It's 60% off, so it's $4.
How much is that in yen?
I have no idea. Let's Google that, because now I'm curious.
While you're Googling that, I'm going to say that if you wish to see our master list of curated, on our curator, where we put all the games that we've talked about, eventually, I am behind on what I've done, and I'm sure you are as well, Jared.
Yep.
You could find that on our Steam group, steamcommunity.com/groups/VGL podcast, and the curator is a secondary subscription there.
Right, $4 in Japanese yen is 410.89 cents, whatever they call their cents. So 400 yen.
Oh, no, they just take a yen and break it.
Okay.
They carry around little saws. Don't you know that about the Japanese?
Japan is a weird place. I'm tempted to believe you. I know that's not true, but I'm really tempted to believe you. Yeah. So, it's 400 yen if you...
Yeah, that's why they bow so much. It's not bowing. They're just working the saw to cut through a yen.
Really quickly working through the saw. They don't bow like 100 times.
Well, it's a very sharp blade.
Must be.
It just takes a few strokes to get through the yen.
Takes
after all, the yen is a very small currency.
Oh, I've got so many dick jokes running through my brain right now. Oh, pull it together,
Yeah,
Jared.
but how's that different from normal?
Fair play. All right, well, it's time for us to talk about our stuff, plug our stuff, which is the one point in the podcast where I go first. So, this week on my YouTube channel, a lot of the same. There's some Mech Warrior stuff that's going to be going up. Some Mech Warrior Online stuff. I've done some recording of Mech Warrior 4 and Mech Commander, but those games are just... XSplit doesn't like them. And they don't record super well with OBS. I don't know why. I might release that. I might just use as background footage. Regardless, it'll get used eventually somewhere.
Yeah, getting old games to record correctly is just a pain in the ass without a hardware solution.
Right. My review for this week that I have done is one of my archive reviews. So it's an older one.
So that's why you didn't have in the games you played?
Correct. I can't remember which one I'm doing first. I've got Horizon scheduled, which is a 4X strategy game. And the other one that I did, I can't even remember doing it. So it must be Horizon that's scheduled for this Sunday. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got going on. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can find me over on the YouTubes by searching for Game Psychologist. If you want to follow me on Twitter, where I tweet about all kinds of random things, you can do so over on Twitter at JMA4707. If you want to watch me stream games on Twitch, which I do twice a week on Wednesdays and Fridays, unless something comes up, you can do so by going to twitch.tv/jarthur4707. A lot of Mech Warrior. That's pretty much all we've played for 2 weeks now. So that'll be this week, and then we'll have the game club. So we'll probably play some different games next week. But although I guess by the time this comes out, that will have already happened. You could still come watch me Friday night, though, if you listen to this on the day of release. But regardless...
Or if there's cheeky little monkeys out there.
That is very true. But regardless, if you want to be my friend on Steam, you can send a friend request to jarthur4707. I will accept your request, and I will chat with you anytime you want to chat with me, unless I'm
And if you
actually
wish
not
to
there.
let them know exactly what episode you're coming from, the password for this week is villainization.
Villainization.
Yes, villainization.
Okay. Also, I do want to say to my new Twitter followers and my new subs on YouTube, thanks for following me and subscribing to me. I really appreciate it. Feel free to tweet me or write stuff on my YouTube videos anytime you want. I will respond as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I've been getting a few new subscribers as well. Not many followers on Twitter. I think people are already following me.
I got like 3 or 4 new Twitter followers this past week.
Well, I did notice a couple new people that, 1 or 2 people that followed me and immediately followed VGL, so I'm assuming that they're completely new.
Yeah. Perhaps.
But remember, I'm in control of the VGL Twitter account, so I see that sort of thing.
That's true. I log in every once in a while just to see the tweets that people have sent to us because, sometimes you just can't find tweets if you're looking at it from the outside. So
Yeah.
I log in every once in a while to check stuff out, but I think I've only posted once from VGL.
Yeah, you're typically, you're supposed to be controlling the curator. How's that going, by the way?
It's going.
So I guess it's my turn to talk about my stuff.
It's your turn. Yes, sir.
This week, talked about Victor Vran ending in a couple of weeks, which means the choosing is going to start happening probably this week, where I try to figure out what's going to replace Victor Vran. RimWorld is suffering a change as well, for the better, I hope. I realized that I'm not going to be able to play RimWorld again till late October with my release schedule. So I'm accelerating my release schedule to double episodes. As a matter of fact, my second episode for Tuesday went out an hour and a half ago. So I'm going to do noon and midnight. It's technically midnight Wednesday, but yeah, close enough. I'll probably change that to 11:30 Tuesday, just so it saves me trouble scheduling that. I'm doing double episodes on RimWorld, just trying to get through it. So, not because I'm hating the game, because I'm loving it so much. And as always, if you wish to join the madness for RimWorld, I am accepting colony names once again. Just send me a tweet over at Gaming with Caffeine Rage. That's Gaming with CR. Or just leave a message on my YouTube channel, Gaming with Caffeine Rage. Outside of RimWorld and Victor Vran, well, that's something that we need to talk about, actually, Jared.
Okay.
Because remember, we have random co-op going on this week with some Rocket League.
That is correct.
And then we need to figure out if we want to continue Terraria, or if we want to do something else, or even, stop doing co-op for a little bit, which is also an option.
Do you want to talk about that right now, or do you want to talk about that later?
I think it's going to be talk about it later, to be perfectly honest, because it's going to be a drag-out conversation.
Yeah.
So we've done 49 episodes of Terraria, and we've hit the point where we're basically sitting and spinning our tires, especially with the RNG just trolling us.
Yeah, but
we had in the course of 5 episodes 3 pirate invasions. Granted, I did trigger one of them, but we had 2 pirate invasions. We had a boss show up 3 times now. We've had raining gels, which honestly is not that much of a big deal. And it's just gotten to the point where we haven't even had a chance to try to progress, let alone to progress. And progressing right now is still very sluggish in the early hard mode. It does pick up later, but it's like the beginning of Terraria all over again, where you have to get that additional momentum going, and we just haven't been able to do it. Just partly because of, just bad luck in our world, partly because of the RNG, and honestly, I think a bit of fatigue as well.
Yeah. There's definitely some of that at play.
So it's going to be sitting down and trying to figure out what to do with the third block on my channel. And of course, the podcast shows up on my channel as well on Fridays at noon. And then there's the Sunday Sampler, which at this point I have no idea what I'm doing, because I don't choose that until about Tuesday or Friday. Or, sorry, not Tuesday. Thursday or Friday. I'm recording Tuesday.
I was going to say, Tuesday or Friday is a weird gap.
Well, considering the other gaps I have on my channel. Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday.
Well, whatever works. Who am I to judge?
Out loud.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have been more active on my Twitter as well. Partly because of sitting there watching the FedEx tracking and just going a little crazy.
Yeah, I don't suspect you'll stick around very long after we're done tonight. Just long enough to render out your stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. And we'll be talking about probably our possible replacement, or what we're going to do with Terraria.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to be shutting down my computer and playing Surgeon.
Yeah. Crack it open. Replace... What would the graphics card be? Its heart? The CPU is the brain.
I'm going to go with the large intestine.
Fair play, I think.
Because it spews shit onto the screen.
Then wouldn't it be the colon?
Well, large intestine is the colon.
I thought the colon was part of the large intestine.
I thought it was the same name for the 2 things. So maybe it's or maybe it is a part. I don't know. Do I look like someone that's gone to medical school?
Nope.
Really? But anyway, going to be replacing my graphics card. But getting back to my stuff on YouTube and Twitter, I am going to try to keep more active on Twitter. I keep saying that, and I keep dropping off, but I am enjoying just seeing people react to the random shit I'm putting up. And I did have a spammer on my YouTube channel this week that just kind of pissed me off. And it wasn't even a spammer that did a lot. It was literally sub ! And a shortened URL to his quick sub link. And it just pissed me off. And I came down on him with the fist of an angry god.
Nice.
No, usually I just remove the comment and maybe report him for spamming. I actually went to his channel and banned him from mine.
Wow.
Completely.
Rage was angry.
Well, it isn't the name.
Hey-o.
But assuming you're not just going to spam your bullshit on my channel, you could always view my stuff over at Gaming with Caffeine Rage or on Twitter, Gaming with CR.
All right.
And now it's time to plug the Internet Archive for unknowingly supporting our bullshit.
Absolutely.
And please, if you don't support us financially, which you could do so at patreon.com/VGL podcast, throw a couple of dollars to the Internet Archive for supporting us and the archives of Kerbalcast as well. You could reach us at VGL Podcast on Twitter or VGL Podcast at gmail.com on YouTube with your letters, voicemails, sock puppet videos, or other nonsense. Our RSS feed is on videogamelogicpodcast.blogspot.com if you happen to be watching this on YouTube. Or if you're on iTunes or Google Play finding us, you can find our show notes there. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and you can find his work at incompetech.com. And,
as always, is his lovely music starts to roll across my voice. Boo-bye now.
I gotta go install a graphics card. See ya.
Boo-bye.
What's up, you fucking noobs? This is that one guy's leadest dude bro tips for Call of Duty Black Ops. Are you tired of running around the corner and having some noob with a shotgun just blow you the fuck away? Alright, well I personally use the AK-47 because I'm a manly man. But here's the thing, it isn't so great at close quarters combat. So what I end up doing is I use the master key. Whenever I'm breaching and sweeping, I like having a shotgun, especially at close range, so that I don't have some little noob bitch blow my fucking brains out. Anyways, the Master Key gives you the nice balance between close quarters combat and medium long range, which assault rifles excel at. Not to mention, you'll be able to keep the M82 Law as your secondary weapon to take down those fucking noob spy planes and counter spy planes. Yeah! Alright, well this has been that one guy's Dude Bro Tips.
I'm firing my laser!